Whoa, 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 whoa! What do we have here, chat? Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, what's going on here? What? A stream on the main channel? Huh? I'm befuddled. I'm utterly dumbfounded. How did this happen? Whose fault is this? Oh my goodness, look at this chat. Look at all the viewers. Oh my god. I should stream on the main channel more often. Wow! Oh, look at everyone in chat. Saw it, Thomas, everyone making it. Minus some familiar names, Cookies, Pocket Hoovie in chat. What's up? A couple new faces, but that's to be expected. Hi everybody. Isn't this so crazy? Yes, I'm able to stream on the main channel. Who would have thunk it? This is a really crazy stream for a lot of reasons, but I just want to obviously say thank you and welcome, welcome everybody to the stream. For those of you who are not familiar or watching for the first time here, I do stream very, very frequently over on my second channel, Edit320 Live. So I just want to take this moment now to plug Edit320 Live. I stream all the time, genuinely, like 3 times a week on that channel. So if whatever you see here interests you, you think it's fun, whatever you want to get in on it more, please subscribe to Edit320 Live, my second channel, and you'll be able to take a part in a lot of these. The reason why I do it on a second channel is because I don't always do tank-related stuff on the streams. Sometimes we stream like we're doing a Subnautica playthrough right now, you know? Like, it's not always tank stuff, so I kept it separate. And also, streaming I've always felt is just like a side gig, you know? To the main channel. But for this, I figured it was worth actually doing. Also, look how bright it is out here, chat. Look at this. Oh, it's because I was, yeah, we're streaming in 1080p today. Usually I stream in 2K, as you guys know on the last stream, but I had a lot of issues, and the performance just tanked. I don't know what's going on with it. But look how bright it is in here. This is another thing that is really weird about today's stream, is it's so early. Usually I stream at like, 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. It's like 11 a.m. right now. It's very early in the day. Is there a filter I can put on that can like slightly make this a bit more bearable for you guys? Can I bring this like down? Or like down? Oh, that's a little too much. That makes me look evil, and I mean I am evil, but that makes me look a little too evil. Is that okay? That doesn't look okay, chat. That looks really bad. Oh, that's not bad. That's not too bad. Actually, that's not bad at all. Look at that. We're professional. Brightness? No, don't do that. Look, this is great. This is fine. This is perfect. Hi everybody, welcome. Hi. Welcome to stream. Today, yeah, today's a very, very, very special. Today's a very, very special stream. We are streaming on the main channel, first of all, and we are streaming a little Q&A to celebrate the release of what has become my largest project by far, and that is the M3 video, the M3 duality of videos. So yeah, I just wanted to. I figured this would be fun to just have a little Q&A session where just anybody who watched the videos and anything that I didn't mention in the video, like questions that you had, if you want to ask me about what it was like making the video, or if you've got, tank knowledge you want, or just in general. I mean, really just doing a little Q&A. It's just healthy every now and then, right? To just do a little Q&A. I thought it would be a lot of fun. And I also figure what other circumstance to do a little Q&A than to play some War Thunder. Because, why not, right? So, yeah, that's basically going to be what is on the docket for today. I will be playing with patrons. So if any of you are patrons and would like to join in and just kind of be in my squad while we play War Thunder, we can. I am not going to do voice chat, though, because I kind of want to focus on answering questions and reading chat and all that. But yeah, if you're interested in playing with me as a patron, let me know. Ping me in the Tankette Talkers, the Patreon chat, and let me know like your War Thunder username, and I will invite you. Yeah, Comrade Clumsy, they can chat with me. Yeah, Comrade Clumsy is in the VC, but I will not be joining him. So if any of you patrons want to hop in the VC, you can talk to each other and talk trash about me. But anyways, I think an important piece of this, 2 things. Firstly, we should open War Thunder. But secondly, excuse me, how rude of me, chat. I need to have this on standby. God, my hair is just all sorts of... Since I've made the video, I have shaved. You guys may recall in the intro of part 1, I have like a very scraggly beard. I have since shaved, but I've not gotten a haircut, and my hair is so long. I need to get it cut short again. I would wear a hat, because I don't like the way my hair looks today, but the whole reason why I'm streaming at 11 a.m. today is because at 2 p.m., which is when I originally planned to do this stream, I gotta go to my sister's graduation ceremony, and that's gonna take up the rest of the day. So like I can't stay forever, as much as I would like to. So that's a hard cap on today's stream. Probably about like 1:30 p.m. So in 11, 12, 1, 30. So we have about 2.5 hours to play around today's stream. So that's what's gonna happen. But anyways, so let's not waste any more of that time, and let's just open the game, shall we? Let's go back to here. I keep switching back and forth between my camera and the stream starting screen. But let's open War Thunder. It's been a hot minute since I've opened this game. I played every now and then, but... Anyway, hi everybody in chat. I will be making sure to keep an eye on what you guys are saying. First question, why did Australia receive grants instead of lease, and where did they come from, the UK or factories in the US? That's a great question, Panzercat. Yes, so Australia received specifically grants from the UK. The UK diverted M3s being made for them in America to Australia. So they came from the factories in the US. And I'm not mistaken, there may have been some lease, but I'm pretty sure it was mostly grants, if not just grants. The only reason I say maybe not is because I know for the Australian Armored Recovery Vehicle, the ARV, they converted those with lease because the grants were like, they desired those more. So there may have been, I think there may actually have been quite a few leads that went over to Australia. Let me go ahead and pull up that chapter again. I like how this is the whole thing's supposed to be a Q&A, but I'm just going to open the book every single time I want to reference something. Although I think I referenced it in the script. I should have pulled up my script too. How about that, huh? Let's also switch to this. Can you guys see? Hey, look at this. Isn't this perfect? Isn't this just adorable? Let's go ahead and turn this down because music. Because I want to have my own music. Is my camera too small? You guys want to do something big? Something a little bit bigger? Yeah, let me open up, actually, this is a great idea. Let me open up the script so I can reference that too. But, oh no, that's the wrong thingy. I know that's also the wrong thingy. I'm opening all the wrong thingies. Chad, I wasn't prepared. Okay. Australia. Oh, okay. Bonk. Bonk. Yeah, because they got the M3A3s, and M3A5s. Let's see. Okay, they did receive. Australia received 255 lees. So 259 grants and 259 diesel grants, 263 gas grants, and 255 lees. So probably about 1/3 of all the M3s that Australia got were lees, and then 2/3 were grants. So my mistake. They did receive quite a few lees as well. But yes, I do know for a fact that they were all diverted over from the factories in America. So lees were shipped to Australia directly from the US, if that makes sense. Let me make sure. Let me pop out chat as well so that bonk. So that I can read you guys. I can have a bigger chat. Congrats, Edisys. Thanks, Sot. So yeah, I guess Panzercat, I just saw your red question again. Why did they receive grants instead of leads? They didn't. They received both. So that is my little thing. Whoopi, are you gonna play? What do you think? What do you think? Today's stream. Oh, also, huge shout out to one of my patrons, Comrade Clumsy, for giving me, yes, indeed, the only premium tank that I own in the entire game. I am a free-to-play War Thunder player. I have never spent a single penny on Golden Eagles or anything. So, thank you, Comrade Clumsy, one of my patrons, for gifting me enough Golden Eagles to purchase the grant specifically for this stream. And it is indeed the only premium vehicle that I own across all of War Thunder. So, thanks. Appreciate it. Cap, it hasn't been a while. You were on like 2 days ago. That's true. That's true. Edda, should I get a Lee and a Grant model? Yeah, you definitely should. Edda, abusing the premiums for real? I'm abusing the patrons, if anything. Why didn't the Aussies use Lees and Grants against the Emus? When was the Emu War? Because if it's after 1955, then it's because the Lees and Grants were out of... Wait, wasn't the Emu War in like the 30s? Wasn't it like between... Wasn't it in the Interwar? If that's the case, then it's because the Lee Grant didn't exist yet. It was in the 1920s, yeah. So, yeah, it was in like 1910 or something. Yeah, I don't think that's it. Have you reached top tier yet? No, chat. I'm a free-to-play. I'm a complete free-to-play. I haven't spent a single penny on this game. I think the farthest I'm with is with the Soviets. I've got the T-44, which I've enjoyed using. Or actually, maybe Germany? Or am I high? The only trees I play, by the way, are USA, Germany, USSR, and Italy. Those are the only trees I've played. I haven't even touched Britain. I've genuinely never played a single game as Britain. I've never played a single game as Japan. Never played a single game as France or Sweden. Actually, I guess I seem to have played a couple games as France. That's interesting. I don't remember doing that. But I am an Italy main. If I have to pick one tree, I am an Italy main. I freaking love Italy. I mean, the Firefly, the composite Firefly being in this tree speaks for itself. The fact that I literally have the composite Firefly. And in case you're wondering, yes, I do have a lot of Girls in Panzer skins. And actually, I would normally have Girls in Panzer skins on all... I would also have Girls in Panzer voice mods and music mods, but the Girls in Panzer soundtrack's going to get me copyrighted. And also, I get that not everyone's going to want to hear anime girls talking inside of these tanks. So, yes, I'm cringe. You guys can feel free to spam those messages all you want. But we're going to play with the big ones, the M3 Grants, the M2, and yes, I did download a custom skin for the M2 here, which is pretty accurate, which is nice. And the M3. I have a couple different skins for the M3. This one's a cool one. It's like all rusted and old. Pretty epic. And then I think I have a Saunders skin for it, and then I have a bunch. Oh yeah, German captured Lee. Oh, this was one... I don't know if anyone wants to ask a question about this, but this was one thing I regret not covering as... Excuse me. This is one thing I regret not covering as like its own segments in the M3 video was German captured M3s. I stumbled across quite a few photos of captured M3s, specifically on the Eastern Front. So it seems to me, and I mean, I'm not surprised, the Germans captured every vehicle they could get their hands on and reused them. But it seems to me like captured M3s were actually pretty somewhat common in the German army as well. But yeah. Italy mains unite. Yeah, I know, dude, there's not many of us. There are not many of us. France air tree the coolest? I've never played as the air tree. What are we feeling? We can play as... This one I think is my Saunders skin. Nope. That's right. That's the one. This was supposed to be like the historically accurate one, but it just doesn't work. The next one I think is Saunders. Which, by the way, huge missed opportunity that there's no M3. I mean, I guess they had it covered because the Rabbit team on the main school on ORI, but huge missed opportunity that they didn't do a Saunders M3. I have a Soviet Lend-Lease M3 skin, which is funny because there is a Soviet Lend-Lease M3 in the game, in the Soviet tech tree, but whatever. And then I have, of course, I'm playing with the Rabbit team M3. Yeah, I feel like I have to do at least one game with Rabbit team, you know? But maybe we'll start with just the old guard. Maybe we'll start with this one. So yeah, I think we'll just go. I do want to say one thing. I am currently working on a Tank Enthusiast Reacts to War Thunder. I'm currently working on that. So I won't go too in-depth to it, but I will say the fact that in the British tech tree, the fact that the Grant is a premium and it's not just like in the normal tech tree is fucking criminal. The fact that you have the Sherman in here, but you don't have the Grant, just like in the default British tech tree, that is fucking criminal. The fact that the Grant is a premium, that's fucked up. They need to get that out of there right now because that's insane. Britain was they were the largest user of the M3, I think in total, especially the Grant. The Grant was made for Britain, like that's crazy. Soviets, I pretty much agree with it being a premium. I think it makes sense. I think a lot of the Lend-Lease stuff being premium makes sense. Anyways, enough talking. Let's just play the stupid game. And to stop being a gooner? Sorry, guys, I'll try not to. Minus, how much did the Char B1 BIS design actually influence the M3? From what I can tell, not at all. There wasn't necessarily this idea of like, whoa, look what the French did with like a multi-tiered and like a gun in the hull and a gun on the roof. Like, wow, like as much as from what I can tell, that was never. Oh, good point, Comrade Clumsy. I did not invite him to the game. I'm supposed to be playing with fans, and I'm not playing with fans. Here you go, buddy. Yeah, so as far as I can tell, there was never an idea of like the Americans looking at the B1 and being like, wow, like let's do that. The design of the M3, the reason it was the way it was, is because they had the M2, and then of course they did T5E2, where they put the 75 howitzer into the hull just to test if it was worth doing and see if it was better than machine guns for infantry. They proved that it was, and they were like, okay. And the idea was we basically want an M2, but with a 75 millimeter gun up in the turret, and which is basically Sherman, right? Like the idea was basically we want to make something Sherman-esque. But then 1940 happens and France falls, and so America says, okay, we got to get the 75 into a tank of some kind right now. When they first designed the M3, it was just the 75. The hull-mounted 75 in this configuration with no turret. The infantry, or excuse me, the armored forces, or the original Rock Island Arsenal and the original guys developing the M3 were perfectly okay with like a Stug, like a casemate, no turret, 75 in the hull, casemated design, because it was a stopgap. It wasn't meant to be like the simpler the better. So in an alternate history, we would have literally gotten an American Sturmgeschütz with just a 75 in the hull. But the infantry board, who of course infantry still owned tanks at this time, so the infantry board demanded that a 37 millimeter gun of some kind be retained for anti-tank work. And so the only place that it fit was on a turret on the roof. And that's why it happened. So from what I can tell, the M3 being the way that it was completely independent of the French or the B1 BIS or anything like that. I haven't come across anything that shows that it influenced them in any way. It very well could have, but I haven't seen any evidence of that. It seems to me like it was independent. Why did Australia receive diesel-powered Lee's grants? Because the diesel engine is the best engine. Even the Americans on developing the M3 pretty much agree that the diesel engine is superior, but it's the production momentum of the R975 just goes on. Diesel fuel is superior to gas fuel in pretty much every way. The diesel engine had good power for tank propulsion. The R975, especially later on in its life, like with the Sherman and stuff, becomes notably underpowered, and like it's kind of, as the war goes on, like 1943, 1944, you start seeing memos popping up that like, hey, the R975 is underpowered and like should not be the main tank engine anymore. And then the 4GAA comes in and they pick that one, and that's like the new one. But it was pretty much always recognized that the R975 like wasn't the best tank engine ever. It was good. It was great for what it was, but they always knew that we wanted something different. And upon seeing the potential of the diesel, they were like, yeah, this is pretty good. But then in 1942, we standardized on gasoline full-time, and that kind of kills the diesel in widespread use in America. But famously, the diesel Shermans were used in the Marines and stuff and all that. But America has just always been an outlier in the international community in that we like using gas-powered stuff. Like, most nations switched to diesel after World War II. And Australia held on to their diesel-powered grants for a lot longer than the gas-powered ones. I've seen a pic before of a Grant with a 17-pounder in place of the M2. Did the British actually experiment with it, or is this post-war museum modification? As far as I can tell, it's a post-war museum modification. I don't know why I fired my gun there. That was not real. I personally have not stumbled across anything resembling the British wanting to put a 17-pounder into the M3. Have you binded different buttons for your guns? Indeed, I have. I can shoot my my 37 and my 75, and I can even switch sights from the 37 to the 75. I can even switch. And yes, I have custom sights. This is the correct sight for the 37 right here, but the 75, when I switch down to the 75, I should have a different sight. I think it's, no, not here. Options, ground vehicle settings, sight settings. The one for the 75, yeah, should be that. It's a shame that when I switch between the 37 and the 75, I can't switch between the sights. I have to pick one and go with it. And seeing that I kind of use the 37 sight more often, I'm just gonna keep the 37. It's not technically accurate when I switch to 75, but, you know. Sorry, I want to keep scrolling through. Why did they put dummy guns on recovery vehicles so much? I thought they would have not wanted to be shot. The idea was, if seen from afar, then the Germans think, or the enemy, thinks that it's a normal tank. So when enemy reconnaissance spots like a platoon of 5 M31 recovery vehicles, when they go back to their command, they go, oh my god, they've got 5, you know, totally functional and fully armed tanks. And then that influences the command to be like, oh, we don't want to commit our forces. They've got 5 tanks over there. Like, that's a lot. The whole thing is supposed to be, it's like, it's intelligence. It's fucking with intelligence. So that when enemy reconnaissance reports the tanks back, they report them as actually fully armed tanks. Because if you report them as like, oh, it's just a bunch of recovery vehicles, then, oh, we can deal with that. But if they go back and they go, yeah, like, it looks like they had guns. It looks like they're normal, perfectly, fully armed tanks. Then the enemy is a bit more reserved. All right, I'm gonna skip through. I'm gonna skip more. I've been reading questions that are like kind of at the top of chat. I'm gonna go back to like get pretty like the more recent questions. So if I missed your question and you want to re-ask it, feel free to. But also, yeah, I'm gonna do horribly because I'm busy reading chat. So don't judge my gameplay, please. Yeah, do you think the Gaijin should add the M3A1 to War Thunder? Yes, I definitely do. I definitely do. I think the Gaijin should add the M3A1 for the armor. They should add the M3A3 for the welded hull diesel engine, and they should add the M3A4 for the Chrysler Multibank and the Long 75. Because the Chrysler Multibank, the M3A4, was introduced late enough in M3 production that it received the later model M3 gun, which means the M3A4 had the same gun as the Sherman, which I think in War Thunder could make for like a pretty cool thing. So, I think, yeah, they should add the M3A1, the M3A3, and the M3A4. I think they should. Those would be really cool tanks to see in War Thunder. They don't have to do the Grant variants. They can just do the Lees. Although the M3A4 never existed in the Grant as a Grant. It was only a Lee. Do either of the gun sights have zoom? I don't know. That's actually a good question. I don't think so. Was the M2 ever used by U.S. forces in World War II? Outside of training, no. In fact, I don't even know... And if we consider World War II 1939, 1940, 1941, then I think, yes. I think as soon as the M3 was around, they got rid of the M2. Like, I don't think, even for, like, training maneuvers in 1941, I'm pretty sure the M2 was gone by that point. So I would say after 1940, no. It was not used. And definitely, it never saw combat. The M2 never saw combat. Did the M3 family of vehicles have an extensive post-war usage by smaller nations? Not on the level of Sherman, but something similar. I know they weren't widely used in the Mideast, but somewhere else. Yeah, I think in terms of post-war usage, the two nations that stand out are Australia and Brazil. The M3 didn't go to quite as many nations as the Sherman did. Whoa, what the fuck? Uh-oh, chat. My GPU's dying. Those damn AMD drivers, am I right, chat? Sorry if anyone is epileptic in chat. Yeah, I think you have to remember that, like, a lot of why... A big reason as to why the M4 is so widespread is because it... Like, the British gave them to a lot of their allies. And that's pretty much the only, like... Outside of America and Britain and the Soviet Union, the only people who get the M3 are people who are given to it by Britain. Or actually, Brazil was given to them by America, so that's an exception there. Oh, fuck. Yeah, Brazil used them for a long time. They swapped out the engines for the Continental. They received, like, a bunch of diesel Lees, and they received a bunch of radial Lees. And I think in, like, the 50s, or pretty soon after World War II, they standardized on the Continental gas engine, and they re-engined a lot of their tanks. And they just kind of kept them around, and then they they sold them all to Paraguay, however you pronounce that, in the 50s or the 60s. And then Paraguay held on to them, and then, I mean, kind of from where they stand, I think there's a bunch of museums in South America where you can still find M3s. And then Australia kept the M3 in service until 1955. The gas-powered M3s they got rid of after 1945, pretty much immediately. They declared obsolete. But the diesel-powered Lees, and I guess the Grants actually, they standardized on diesel-powered Grants. So the diesel Grant stayed in Australian service until 1955. So the Australians didn't retire the M3 until the US retired the M4, which is that's a pretty long service life. But other than that, not really. The M3 just didn't really go around as much because it was replaced almost immediately by the M4. So any nation that received a decent number of M3s would have soon later gotten a huge number of M4s, and then by that point it's like, well, this tank is just so clearly better that like there's just not really any reason. What happened to the very first prototype M3 and are there plans for the second M3 in the world to be put inside and restored to running? I don't know, and no. I'm not sure what happened to the original Rock Island Pilot M3, or even the original wooden mock-ups. I'm not sure what happened to them. They either would have been given to Aberdeen Proving Grounds. Whew, thank God. They would have either been given to Aberdeen Proving Grounds, or they would have been put in storage somewhere, or they would have been scrapped. Nothing I read gave any indication as to what happened to the original Rock Island Arsenal pilot vehicle. And then serial number 2 is still just up in Delaware, up in Newark, and you can still see it. And as far as I know, nobody knows that it exists. As far as I know, it's like actually it's not a widely known vehicle. But I'm sure if you reached out to like the Armor and Cavalry collection down in Fort Moore, Georgia, I'm sure if you reached out to them and asked them, they'd probably have some interest in it. Because it's a really important tank in American tank history. I'm surprised that it's just sitting in the middle of Newark, Delaware. And you know, the people taking care of it seem to be taking decent care of it. Like, it's not rotting away or rusting. But yeah, I don't know about any plans to actually take it and restore it. What was the reputation of the M3 in the Pacific Theater? Honestly, better than it was. Better to comparable than what it was in North Africa. Specifically in the Pacific Theater. Oh, damn. The M3's major use in the Pacific Theater was in Burma with the British. America did use the M3 in the Pacific Theater during one operation on Budatar Island in the Gilberts in November of 1943. There were 15 M3 tanks that were used by the U.S. They had some initial troubles on the beaches, but then afterwards in combat they performed quite well and were regarded like, hey, the tanks worked and they did what we asked them to do. A majority of the M3's use in the Pacific, again, comes from the Burma campaign with the British, and the British liked them. They were generically, like, there was a sense of, like, there are other tanks out there that are better, but, like, overall, they were happy with them. The M3s had great reliability, and in the climates of Southeast Asia Pacific, that was very important. They lasted a long time. They could handle these really long road marches through the mountains. On winding, narrow mountain roads, the dual guns of the M3 were actually liked because the 75 could be kept trained forward down the road while the 37 scanned the trees up above or just other positions. So in the really wacky and bizarre jungle environments of the Southeast Asian Pacific, the M3, I would say that's probably the theater in which the M3 performed the best. If I had to put money on it. In terms of people being like, hey, like this was actually like a good tank and it was useful for what we were doing. Speaking of M2, weirdly specific question about markings, if you're aware of it. Did any vehicles in combat service use the old tricolor star, the red circle, white star, small blue circle? I don't believe so. I think that was training only. I've only ever seen photos of that being used in training. How do you think a Cold War modified M3 would look like? Jesus, not very good. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, what, like for America? Were there any common field crew modifications made to the M3? Yeah, for the British specifically, they did a lot of stuff, and a lot of it would end up being requested to be added in the factories. Things like sand skirts. They swapped out one of the 37 ammunition racks for another 75 ammunition rack. They added a water container. stowage bins on the back. They're actually stowage bins. I didn't include it in the video, but I found reference to little stowage bins being added to the rear of the turret on the M3 Grant, which is pretty cool. But they stopped doing it pretty quickly because I guess they, I don't know, I forgot why. But they said why, but I forgot why. Obviously, with this wasn't really a field modification, but Australia added the extra armor plating to the front, to the transmission housing. There weren't really any field mods for the M3s in American service that I can think of. They all just waited for stuff to be implemented at the factories. But for the British, honestly, most of the Grant-specific modifications, other than the turret, most of them started as field mods in the desert, and then were later added in the factories. So definitely in British service, yes, there were plenty of field mods. We're gonna need a slow-mo for these questions. Yeah, I might have to keep skipping stuff. What did the Soviets think of the M3? They were highly critical of it, but also at the same time they recognized that it's their biggest complaints with the M3 was that it was just an outdated design. Like, they got the M3, they looked at it, and they were like, yeah, this is not a very modern setup. You know, they looked at the whole configuration, they were like, yeah, this is just, it's outdated. But on the small, in terms of like automotive performance and the mechanics of the vehicle, the reliability of the vehicle, the weapons, the Soviets thought it was a good tank. They were like, yeah, like it does what it needs to. Most of the things that they cited that they didn't like about the M3 had to do with the fact that it was designed like this, you know. They heavily praised the reliability of the tank. They really liked the guns, the 75 and the 37. They said were easy to use, and sighting and seating was comfortable, and they were effective. They didn't like the Browning machine guns on the M3, interestingly enough. They thought that they had problems with them tearing off casings during firing. They didn't like the gas engine. They wanted a diesel engine. But interestingly, they would never make the move to purchase any diesel-powered M3s. Instead, they waited for the M4. So the Soviets complained that the M3 didn't have a diesel engine, but yet they never actually went and purchased any diesel M3s. They also complained about the riveted hull of the vehicle, but they never purchased any welded hull vehicles. So again, that's kind of something that was somewhat fixed, but and maneuverability. They thought the armor was inadequate, and the maneuverability wasn't great. Its top speed was pretty much only adequate on road. In off-road conditions, they were like meh. In fact, in off-road tests, the Soviets found that it fared worse than a Canadian-built Valentine, which was interesting. But the troops on the ground obviously called it a coffin for six brothers. So I think, you know, I really want to read, there's a book called Commanding the Red Army Sherman Tanks. I want to read that book because I feel to me like they would probably mention some M3 stuff in there too. So the Soviets figured the M3 was a good tank for what it was, but they obviously recognized it was outdated and it was a stopgap, and they figured that. And then in combat, it seems like, I mean, the Eastern Front was just generally a freaking bloodbath. The soldiers probably didn't have the best impression of them. I'm willing to say the individual soldiers probably didn't like them all that much. What usage did the M3 have after World War II? I kind of already answered that. It's also in the video. After World War II, the M3 saw use mostly with Australia and Brazil. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. They're kind of the two big nations. You got recognized in that game? Badass, I didn't even notice that. Does the M3 have a shoulder stabilizer for the 37? Yes, the 37 and the 75 both had stabilizers in the M3. I don't remember you mentioning the RAM at all in the video. Was it just time thing? Yes, I did. I personally concluded that the RAM was too far removed from the Grant or the Lee to be worth mentioning in the video. I think the RAM deserves its own thing. Also, yeah, I did mention the M4A5 in my Sherman video. I think the RAM is closer to the Sherman than it is to a Lee, but that kind of doesn't make sense because it is built on the M3's chassis, so. How did the Lee perform in Africa? Quite well. It performed well. It was against what it was going up. It performed well initially in the sense that, like, its armor was not bad. its firepower was good. I think the best thing that the Lee brought to the table, or the Lee Grant brought to the table, which was the point all along, was the 75. The 75 was a genuine surprise to the Germans at the time. The British liked it, and the reliability. What the M3 brought to North Africa was a 75mm gun on a very reliable platform. Pretty much everything else you could take or leave. The 37, meh. The turret on top, meh. The riveted hull, meh. The big boxy structure, meh. Like, a lot of that stuff was kind of, eh. But all these things would be solved in the Sherman, you know? And that was the point. The whole point was, we're making something better. But for now, like, let's just get this out there. And in that regard, it did exactly what it was designed to do. And it did it well. Again, I think there are similar reports. There's the famous report of, like, the one guy who's like, both the guns are firing, I'm yelling reverse, but the driver's going forwards. Somebody hands me a cheese sandwich, if you guys know that quote. Yeah, I think the troops definitely figured that the M3 was quite a bit of a handful to crew and to operate. But generally, it wasn't too bad. I think the M3, like, when you hear about the British getting their asses kicked in North Africa and all this, that, the other, and they're using the M3, and then suddenly the Second Battle of El Alamein happens and the Sherman comes in, and then all of a sudden they start winning. Honestly, I think that's more to do with the broader tactics and situation of North Africa. Like, I think if the Sherman had been delayed by like another 2 or 3 months and the Second Battle of El Alamein had to happen with M3s, I still think it would have been a victory. And should you replace the M3 with the Sherman during the initial phases of the North African campaign, I still think the British would have gotten their asses kicked. What was the reason for naming of M3 Lee? I don't remember tanks like before M2 having nicknames per se. The British came up with it. It was Churchill. Churchill was really bad with numbers. He couldn't tell one number from another. He didn't like that tanks were like, you know, the M3 or the M6 or the Mark III cruiser, like whatever. He was just like, I can't tell them all apart. So Churchill was a big advocator for giving tanks names. And I think that's why the British have such, especially once World War II kicks off, the British end up having a lot of names. You know, they come up with Churchill and Valentine and Challenger and Crusader and Matilda and all those stuff. So when the M3 sees service with the British, Churchill immediately says, we got to give these things nicknames. Like, we have to give them proper names. So Churchill is the one who comes up with Lee and Grant. He also comes up with Stuart, and he comes up with Sherman. Churchill was a big history buff, so he kind of already knew like the names of American Civil War generals. So he used those. He thought they would be appropriate. America, although the names do end up seeing like use in the U.S. Army, they kind of catch on because like the British are calling them that, and you know, why not? The British end up being the biggest users of the tank, so if they're calling them Grants and Lees, then fuck it, we can too. I've seen reference. There was a U.S. Army there's a U.S. Army video introducing the Sherman, and it's like, called General Lee's, the new tanks, well, da-da-da. So it's literally a video about the Sherman, but the announcer calls them Lee's. So that's quite funny, first of all. But second of all, it tells me that the M3, the Lee Grant names caught on in the United States as early as 1942. Although granted, 1942 was kind of the second half of the M3's service life. But yeah, the names caught on in America. And then 1944, it's not until 1944 when the U.S. Army officially adopts Sherman, Lee, Grant, Stuart into like actual use, where they say like, all right, like we officially recognize these as names that we're going to put into circulation. Also in that document, 1944, they come up with Chaffee, Pershing, and Jackson, and a lot of others. So the U.S. Army kind of adopts that mindset of like, yeah, let's use general names. I think it makes sense, doesn't it? Please just drop the game and have a proper Q&A. Nah, we'll see. I think right now it's going well. It's just meant to be background. You know how these Zoomers are. They They can't stare at just a normal screen. They gotta have their background gameplay. Do you guys want me to put Subway Surfers on in the background as well? Family Guy funny moments, maybe. Keep your little brains occupied while I ramble about tanks. Yeah, I read stories about the lead in the Pacific campaign. Apparently tank crews liked it a lot over their given vehicle's capability to handle itself against Japanese tanks. Well, yeah, that's another reason why the M3 like generally did quite well in the Pacific, is because, I mean, the tanks it was going up against, you know, the Japanese tanks, I mean, first of all, they weren't that often encountered, and then when they were, I mean, the M3 was pretty much always, its armor was practically never challenged, and its gun was, you know, dynamite against Japanese tanks. So yeah, the M3 had a pretty good reputation in the Pacific for that reason. I need Subway Surfers and soap cutting. Any M3 and War Thunder have the Hull MGs? They have the Hull MGs, but they're not usable, which is that kind of pisses me off, to be honest. In regard, why did they name the M18 the Hellcat? It deviates a lot from the usual tank naming scheme. Hellcat was a marketing term that was coined by Buick, because Buick are the ones who made the M18, and the Hellcat, it was a Buick, it was a marketing term from Buick, and it just kind of caught on. Question: what was the scheme behind naming tanks the M4 and then jumping to M26? So in the start of when World War II started, there was an idea in the US Army that you would have each class of tank would have its own individual naming progression. So you would have the M1 light tank, the M1 medium tank, the M1 heavy tank. And then when you make a new heavy tank, it's the M2 heavy. And then if you make another medium tank, it's the M2 medium. And then, so you have like the M1 medium, the M2 medium, the M3 medium, the M4 medium, and then the M1 light, the M2 light, the M3 light, the M4 light. Because it was standard practice in the US Army that like you describe what you're talking about, what piece of equipment you're talking about, by using the designation and then also its type. It's the same reason why we have the M1 rifle and the M1 submachine gun and the M1 helmet and the M1 knife. It's actually not that confusing as long as you specify, hey, the M1, which one? Oh, the M1 rifle. Okay, well there's only one M1 rifle. There's only one M1 carbine. There's only one M1 medium tank. There's only one M1 light tank. So they would all have individual progressions. Around the time of the Sherman, the US realizes like this is getting way too confusing. And so they just standardize and say, okay, all tanks going forward, we're just going to start going up in number. So then you start seeing like the M10 Wolverine and like the M16, or sorry, excuse me. Actually, I feel like it starts at the M20 because you have the T20 series and the T20s, and then the light tank, the T24, and then that becomes the M24 Chaffee, and then the M26 Pershing. And then by the time that's done, they go back to the M26 becomes the M46, becomes the M47, becomes the M60. So the reason why you start skipping numbers, also because a lot of prototype tanks are being developed at the time, like M7 was taken. Like there was a tank that they built called the M7. They never actually put it into service in large numbers and never actually built it in large numbers. But like the M7 nomenclature was technically taken by a vehicle. M6 was also taken. There was an M6 tank destroyer that they developed. It was a little Jeep with a 37 on the back. So numbers are being used up, even though we don't see them like in super widespread use in World War II. So by the time they developed the Pershing, just M26 I think was just the next sort of. It was just the next one. What was the purpose of Hull MGs like in the Lee and T-44? It was just generally America figured that that the more machine guns, the better, like more DACA. So the M22 was made late. Yeah, the M22, the Locust, was developed in like 1943, 1944, under British request to develop a like an air deployable tank that you could drop out of a glider. They developed the Tetrarch for the same reason. Like this happens a lot where Britain says, "Hey, we're going to develop like this tank," and then America, you should make one too, so that we both have this tank, this type of capability. So the British are like, "Hey, we're going to make Tetrarch, air deployable, tank armored car thing. America, you should build something too." And then we're like, "Okay, we'll build the M22." and then we never ended up. We didn't really end up using the M22. The British got more use out of it than we did. Same thing happens with Excelsior and the T-14, the assault tank version of the Sherman, basically, where Britain says, "Hey, we need an assault tank. We're going to build Excelsior. America, you should build something too." And then we're like, "Okay, fine, we'll build T-14." T-14 doesn't work, but then to supplement the capability, we build the Jumbo. And then it's like, all right, that works. And then Excelsior didn't go anywhere, as far as I know, right? So, yeah. Why does M3 Grant have the cloth over the 75 in sponson? It was to protect against dust and sand in the desert environments in North Africa. It was a request specifically made by the British. The British said, we want canvas covers for the guns, because they did not originally come with the M3. So the M1 Abrams was called M1 because of being the first truly modern MBT for the US. I think they did the M1 Abrams because America is just dumb. And they were like, fuck it, we're just going to go back to M1 because at this point, like, I don't know. I think they just wanted to reset the clock. Like, I really don't know. I don't know why they called it the M1. If you could change a single thing about the M3, what would it be? That's a really good question. Honestly, I think the British had the best idea. I think I would switch to the Grant configuration, and I would redesign this turret to not make it so ugly. Honestly, the Grant is objectively better than the Lee in literally every way. The Grant is an objectively better vehicle, but God, the turret is so ugly. I think I would choose the Grant, and I would change the turret to be a little bit less ugly. In the video about M3 Surprise, you forgot to mention the Australian version of the M7 Priest Sexton, first and only SPG in Australia. I mentioned in that video when I went on the M7, I was like, we're gonna have to stop because the M7 has its own lineage and like its own off branch and shoot, and like the M7 has its own crazy story that I'm just don't have time to get into. So I stopped with just the base version of the M7. Do you think a sized-up M3 with a Sherman turret and with a 75/76 and a 105 in the hull would have had a longer service life, more impact on the war? No. I think that would have been an awful vehicle, and it would not have been effective at all. I think that would have been a really bad idea. Going off the sand skirts, what specific reason did Americans remove them from their Shermans? America just never really felt like the sand skirts were that necessary. Like, they just didn't really, like, Britain had a through combat in North Africa, Britain got this experience of like sand skirts are needed to help kick up less dust while we're driving around and all this stuff. Whereas America just seems, I think America, we liked having the accessibility to the suspension, I think. And also there was an idea that, okay, Comrade wants me to go A. Also, there was this idea that the sand skirts are just going to fall off anyways. Like, they're very fragile, you know. They're very thin and flimsy. So I think for America, it was just as long as you have the basic like mud flaps or whatever, or the little guards on the front and the back, that'll help not kick up dust in front of the driver's face. But yeah, in terms of like the full sand skirts, it was just never really something America put on their tanks. I think the only reason it ended up on Sherman was because it ended up on Lee, because the British asked for it. So I saw somebody, which variant of the M3 do you like the most? I think definitely the M3A3 Grant. The welded hull diesel-powered Grant. I think the welded hull diesel-powered Grant is objectively the best variant of the M3. Like, bar none. It's funny because Abrams has sand skirts always. Well, yeah, that happened because, as far as I know, that's more for protection. Because the M1 Abrams, unlike good song, but I don't want this here. The M1 Abrams side skirts, at least the first 3 skirts on the Abrams, are armored. Like, they actually have like ballistic protection. Like, they actually have use rather than just being sand skirts. I think that's probably a big reason why the M1 is like kind of the first American tank to really do side skirts like that. And they're not really sand skirts. Like, sand skirts are the flimsy, like, sheet metal, like, much smaller signature skirts that, you know, like the British had and all that. Whereas, like, the Abrams has, like, proper, like, not sand skirts, but, like, you know, shields, like, the big boy stuff. So I think at that point America was like, okay, now this is worth it. but just like flimsy sheet metal sand skirts, I think America just didn't think it was... Like, yeah, like they're gonna fall off all the time anyways. What, for a reduced dust signature? Like, boo-hoo. What was so bad about the cast hull? Nothing, actually. The cast hull was far superior. The only reason I say the M3A3 is the objectively best variant of the M3 is because it combined a better hull construction with the twin diesel engine and the good turret design in the Grant and everything. Like, the M3A3 Grant is the best possible configuration of features that, like, actually existed. Theoretically, the very best M3 you could possibly get would probably be a diesel-powered M3A1 Grant. That is probably the best variant of the M3 you could get, theoretically, but that never existed. They never made a Grant on the M3A1. It was only, they were all Lees. But the casted hull was superior in every way, and in fact, it's through the tests of the casted hull for the M3, like, the tests were so good, that is, like, single-handedly what gave America such a large boner for casted hull tanks, and it's a boner that remains until, like the M48 had this big casted potbelly hull, and the turret was casted, and all this. Like, they don't stop casting until the M60 when you have to do it for composite armor. So, and America widely and many times regarded the M4A1 as, like, the best and desired variant of the Sherman. They figured the cast hull of the M4A1 was, again, just, like, the superior, objectively best version. Whoop! Could a 76mm gun logically fit inside the hull of the M3? Yeah, probably. The big reason why it didn't work in the Sherman is because it was too cramped in the Sherman's turret, but when you have all this space in the M3, you probably could have made it work. But why you would do that when the Sherman exists, you know, doesn't make any sense. I think was better, the Char B1 or the M3 Lee? I think just through pure combat record, I think the M3. The M3 wasn't nearly... The big problem that the B1 has was, like, implementation, which America did better. But then also, there was that famous thing where, like, if you used the wrong type of oil in the steering system, it broke down easily. The M3 never had anything like that. The M3 was built, like... That thing was built for tough, you know? So... Why did the U.S. put both the 37 and 75 on the Lee Grant? I kind of answered that question already. I'll just really, really quickly say, in the interwar, America believed that the best weapon for a tank was machine guns to support infantry. In 1939, they formally experiment with the 75 mounted into the hull of an M2, and they say, oh shit, this is actually better for supporting infantry, so we should replace machine guns with the 75. They do that, and then they decide, hey, we want to put that into a turret. 1940 happens, France falls, and they say, okay, we don't have time to put a 75 into a turret. We have to just stick the 75 into the hull. Like, that's all we can do. America was initially ready to accept just that. Like, basically build a Stug, where, like, basically an M3, but without the turret. Just the 75 in the hull. That's what they originally wanted to build. But then the infantry board came in and said, no, we still need a 37 for anti-tank work. Because the 75 was being the replacement of machine guns for anti-infantry. So then, oh, well then what do we kill tanks with? The 37, which was the standard anti-tank gun of the US at the time. Was it not the right thinking? Yes, it wasn't really the right thinking, but that was their reasoning. So the infantry demand a 37 be retained, so they put it on the roof. That's the long and short of it, but I answered in the video as well. Which company, in your opinion, made the best model of the M3 Grant? I mean, I have to say Baldwin, because they made the diesel-powered welded hull, the M3A3. I'd say Baldwin. Are cast Sherman hulls better than welded? Yes. Cast hull M3 looks blurst? Yes. Unfortunately, it really does. Why do so many modern Russian tanks have cloths around the gun? It's all for the same reason. It's just to keep out dirt and debris. Because dirt, debris, bullet fragmentation, anything like that that can get stuck in the mechanisms of the gun can prevent it from functioning. So those little cloths just help deflect the loose dirt, debris, or I did not mean to shoot my machine guns there. Oof. Those loose cloths just help deflect loose dirt, debris, or like bullet fragments and things like that from getting all caught up in, like, your turret ring, or getting all caught up in your I'm gonna die here. Getting all caught up in your gun mechanisms. And how would a mid-war M3-like tank be designed? Probably the same. I mean, you probably have... I mean, probably the same. Not really that much changes between 1940 and 1943 in terms of, like, what features you could add to a vehicle like an M3. Because, like, you could say, well, like, what do you mean? You have the, like somebody mentioned earlier, like, what if you put a 105 howitzer in the hull and then, like, the 75 on the roof? Well, yes, but you'd have to have an entirely new turret, and that turret would be way too heavy, and the M3's hull probably couldn't support it. They were already worried about the M3 hull being able to support the turret that's on there currently. Do you guys see on the roof of the M3 those two, like, big girders that are on there? Those two, like, massive, like, little vertical plates? They're reinforcement ribs, specifically to keep the roof of the hull reinforced to hold the weight of the turret. So if you're going to put a bigger gun in the turret of the M3, you need a bigger turret, and I don't know if the roof of the M3 could handle that. Theoretically, maybe it could, but I don't know. Maybe a welded construction would handle it better. A casted construction could maybe handle it better. So I guess you do a cast hull with a bigger turret and a 75. But at that point, like, why? Like, you have the Sherman. At that point, you're making a Sherman. Like, at that point, just use the Sherman. And then, yeah, a 105 in the hull, like, that conceptually makes sense because the whole point of the hull-mounted gun was to be, like, the infantry support gun. But still, like, I don't know. Like, I think just... Obviously, that's what this hypothetical is. Like, there's no reason why you would design a tank like the M3 in 1943, but if you had to, what would it look like? Honestly, like, I don't think it would be much different than what the M3 was already. I think it would be pretty much the same. That was a bad shot there. Hold on. Oh, the hill got me. Hold on. Go down. Oh, come on. Come on. Yeah, got him. We are just seal clubbing right now. We're camping their spawn. Why is cast better? Is because of welding issues. Cast armor, because the whole armor is one piece, it can absorb shock a lot better. Also, you can make the... There were a couple reasons that were cited in the U.S. test reports. Actually, can I pull up... excuse me, actually, let me pull it up. I have it in my script. When the U.S. tested the M3A1, let me read exactly what the U.S. said were the benefits of the M3A1. All right, quote, "The advantages of the cast steel hull over the homogeneous armor plate," so welded, the advantages are as follows. Hold on, I want to pull up the M4A1. The advantages are as follows. Eliminates bolts and rivets, which welded hull does too, but still. Cast hull can be rounded to some extent, thereby denying direct impact from projectiles. So having a more curvy hull means there's more angles for things to bounce off of. There's no uniform flat, or there's not as many uniform flat surfaces for things to go through. A great reduction in the amount of work involved in manufacturing the hull, because you can just cast the whole thing as one piece. You don't have to just weld you don't have to weld a bunch of plates together individually. You just cast it as one piece, provided your factory has the capability to do casting. The machined hull, the casted hull, will cost about 50 cents per pound to manufacture, or excuse me, 50 cents per pound to manufacture, thus creating a savings of approximately $3,000 per tank. So it was cheaper. General Steel Casting Company state that they will be able to General Steel Casting Company state that they will be able to manufacture 4 fully machined cast hulls per day without expanding their present facilities. So you don't need to tool up for it. It was like they could already make a bunch of them. The weight of the cast hull exceeds that of the hull made up by welding only by 200 pounds. And the ballistic tests were amazing. This is all This is all in reference to the M3A1, so the cast hull Lee. The ballistic tests were way superior. They liked it a lot. The first hull they tested wasn't amazing, but then they requested a second one that be built to different hardness standards, I think. And then they... the U.S. tested 2 hulls. The first one was too brittle and would fracture and spall. The armor needed more ductility, So they ordered a second one that was more ductile and wasn't as brittle, and that one had incredible performance ballistically against 50 cal, 37, and 75 millimeter guns. In fact, the hull withstood the punishment so well that they just said, just put it on a production tank. Like, just send it out. Like, don't even like cover up the holes that we put in it, and then just put it on like a production vehicle. Like, this hull has stood up to the test so well that we can just reuse it on a real tank. So yeah, those were the advantages, they said. So they were so impressed by these tests that cast hull became like America really wanted casting from this point forward, basically. Yeah, why wasn't the US making more sloped armor tanks like Jumbo or T-34 and instead work more with M4A1? Again, because of what I just read. They were so impressed by the performance of the welded hull, or excuse me, of the casted hull for the M3. They literally they were so impressed that they were like, well, this is it. Like, this is the future. Like, this is the ultimate armor design. Like, everything should be casted going forwards. The only reason they made the Sherman in a welded hull configuration was like just so manufacturers could keep up. If America had it their way, all Shermans would have been casted. What World War II tank would you think would be best for modernization? I mean, probably the Sherman. Either the Sherman or the T-34. Or the Panther. Did they try to put the 90 mil in the Lee? No. By the time the 90 mil was like a conversation that was happening, the M3 was like way in the books, was put away and forgotten about. Because that's like 1943, 1944 when they start talking about a 90, and the M3 was done and forgotten about by that point. Everything was Sherman at that point. Isn't the biggest downside of the cast hull that they need very big and complex machinery to make it? I mean, you need to have like, like what is a casted hull? Like let's be logical here. What is a casted hull? It is you get a giant mold, you fill it with molten metal, and then it hardens, and then you take it out, and then like boom, like it's the same thing as like resin casting for like, for models, like how they make model kits, or like if any of you are like cosplayers, like how you make costumes and stuff. Like you get a resin mold. You get a mold, you fill it with resin, and then it hardens, and then you take it out, and then boom. That's literally what casting is, but just with steel. So the big hurdle to a casted hull tank is you need to have the ability to produce massive, what's the word I was just using for what you fill with the molds? You need to have like massive molds, and then you have to have enough steel and the proper mixtures and everything in your steel to be able to pour it into the mold, to then have it harden and be its own casted thing, and then you need to have the machinery to smooth it out and to, or not smooth it out, but refine some certain surfaces. Because when you just because you cast a hull, like doesn't mean it's done instantly. You need to cast a hull, and then you have to do some machining to it to make it smooth in certain parts so that it like meshes well with machinery and stuff. There's a bit of work that has to be done to it afterwards. And then also you do generally need a bit more of a skilled workforce to do casting, because you can mess up casting quite easily. The T-34 famously, in casting their turrets, they'd have a lot of bubbles in the casting and it wasn't perfect and the armor wasn't perfect. So so there's a bit of an industrial hurdle to get over with casted hull, but the American and British solution to this was you just reach out to railroad manufacturers, because railroad manufacturers already have like the massive assemblies for working with large steel castings. So just reach out to them and they can already do it. So that sort of industrial hurdle is surpassed. But yes, that's the major downside to a cast hull, is you kind of need facilities that are specifically tooled up to do it. Did the M3 Lee have HVSS? Yes, actually. The HVSS was being worked on early enough that there was there's a prototype, like pre-HVSS that was developed and put onto an M3. It actually resides in formerly known as Fort Lee, Virginia. There's a fort up here in Virginia that has a huge armor collection. The Chieftain did a video on it, showing it off. And yeah, it's an M3. It's an M3. I think it's an M3A1 if I'm not mistaken, but maybe just an M3. It's an M3 with like proto HVSS, like very early HVSS. It's very cool. And it has like the one big idler wheel at the back, like the Stuart does. Oh man, I was just trying to drive to B. Yeah, very cool. You can look it up. But in terms of like production, no. It was just that one like experiment. They did one test with it, basically.
But aren't modern tanks welded? Yes, modern tanks are welded because we need the boxy square shapes for modern composite armor. That's kind of the big reason. And also, I mean, actually, yeah, that's really the big reason I can think of. Where'd you get that skin? All my skins I downloaded from the War Thunder skins marketplace. Do you think the M3 is a good platform for modification in different roles? No, I don't. I think the Sherman was better. I mean, the M3 was not designed to have a long service life. Like, it was designed to work. I mean, the M3 was outdated when it was developed. So it was barely even contemporary with other tanks of its type. So I think if you're going to continue any like future-proofing, future developing that you do on the M3 is also going to be behind. I think the only advantage of the M3 is if you built stuff on the welded hull M3s, and you know, so you have the welded construction, so it holds up a little bit better. I think the large boxy like shape of the M3 probably could have been not too bad for like armored recovery vehicles or armored personnel carriers or things like that. But again, the M4 Sherman was just as large and boxy. Maybe not as tall, but it still had a very large boxy hull configuration. So the M4 like is just as good at those sorts of things better. Like I can't think of anything the M3 would have been better at than the M4. Like, I could say, yeah, the M3 would have made a good APC or a good armored recovery vehicle, and it did for the most part, kind of. But like, so could the Sherman. Like, the Sherman was also good at that too. So yeah, and it sounds obvious describing it, but like, that's really it. Like, there's not anything that I think you could do to an M3 that you couldn't do to an M4, and the M4 would have been better. Or, you know, that anything you could do to the M3, you could do to the M4, and the M4 would be better at it, at that thing. If that makes sense. Completely unrelated to M3, but where'd you get that tanker-looking jacket? I got it from a website called atthefront.com. They make a lot of like cosplay gear and like reproduction World War II gear. Crossing that field was so foolishly brave. Yeah, I was just, I think you can probably tell, but my brain is not exactly on, at least not on the game. The M3 having a big hole kind of kills all mods with it. I mean, kind of. I mean, I personally believe part of what made the Sherman so versatile was the fact that it had such a large boxy hull. Like, because with that large boxy hull, like, it's more susceptible to modification. Like, you can add more things to it, or you can configure it in different ways. Like, if you take the Sherman's turret off and open it up, then like, boom, you've got so many. I mean, that's just, you've just got a giant box on tracks, and it's such a reliable and versatile platform with just a big box hull. Then I think there's a lot of potential there. So that's what I think. Like, I think the best thing going for the M3 was also what was going for the Sherman, which was it had a large boxy hull, so you could theoretically use that. It could be used for a lot of different things. But again, so did the Sherman, and the Sherman was better. So why you would, and that's why like you don't see a lot of stuff being made. You saw some things being made on the M3, like when you had to, but yeah, for the most part, like America reached that same point, especially like 1942. They reached the point where they were like, there's nothing we could build on the M3 that we couldn't build on the M4, and the M4 is going to do it better. So they just moved to the M4. Like, really, like, as soon as the Sherman became a thing, like fall of 1942, America just gives up on the Lee pretty much. We don't develop anything on it ever again. Yeah, I think the best way to describe the M3 would be that as an interim solution. I think that's the word you should use. Yeah, stopgap interim solution. Why don't Western tanks nowadays have a cloth over the mantlet? They do. Look at, not all of them, but usually they do. Chieftain tanks, Challenger tanks, I've seen them on there. Abrams does it, but I think it's just because Abrams, I guess they feel like Abrams has a robust enough mantlet that it can handle that. But there are tons of Western tanks that have cloths over the mantlets. Gun covers. M3AA, what could have been if there was M3AA? There actually was. Somebody pointed this out. I'm going to go through the effort and pull this up. Somebody actually pointed out in my comments section that I did actually miss a variant of the M3. Actually, no, it wasn't an AA. It was a GMC. It was a 40 millimeter GMC. It was called like the T49 or something like that. Oh, hold on. I need to check my YouTube Studio comments and try to find it. Somebody had mentioned the T36 40 millimeter GMC. T36 GMC. Look up the T36 GMC. Yeah. Well, yeah, how is it a GMC? I guess it probably was AA. But yeah, this was one thing that they built. They built this on a casted hull. I wonder if I can... Oh, you guys, sorry. It's a bit too big. They developed this. Hi. So yes, this is... They did build this. This was a real thing they built on the M3. The T36. So I did not come across this in my research. I just generally... This was an actual, like, over my head. But yeah, 40 millimeter. And you can tell it's on an M3 hull because the lower here is riveted. And also the back here, this riveted backside, tells you it's an M3. Because obviously no Shermans were ever riveted, so that's instantly tells you it's an M3. Obviously the bogies too, but you know theoretically the Shermans got those bogies. But yes, that did happen. They did actually build that. I'd have to look into when that happened or how long or how successful it was. I reckon it probably wasn't very successful considering, you know, I didn't even know it existed. All the research I did on the M3 and that never came up once. So props to that one guy in my comment section who called that out. That did exist. The way you talk about the M4 Sherman reminds me of how people talked about the Panzer III or 4. I mean, the Panzer III was genuinely a really good tank for its time. I mean, the Panzer III was probably the best tank in the world when it was created, like when it debuted, you know? Like 1937, 1938, the Panzer III and 4, incredible vehicles. And so was the Sherman. 1942, Sherman was incredible. 1945, you know, it's starting to show its age, but it's not at all a bad tank. Whoa. What the shrimp? Oh, dude. I was reading chat. Alright, hold on now. These guys think they're hot shit. Alright, wait. What if I just actually played War Thunder real quick? With the German captured M3. We're gonna buy some time right here. Hopefully nobody comes around our backside and shoots us in the butt. Did someone just try to shoot us? Ooh. I saw that guy. I'm gonna switch to the 75 here. Oh, fuck. Can I arc it? Oh! Got him. Alright, hold on now. Ooh, beautiful. There's still an AA back here, isn't there? Or have we dealt with him? I don't hear him. I'm gonna get shot on the side right here. During this crossing. Yeah, is there not? I hear him. I think there's still an AA back here. Oh, never mind. Okay. Well, fair. Look at this. Little contemporaries. Valentine and an M3 rolling together. Damn, son. Planes. I don't mind planes when they're on my side. Ooh! Ooh! That was close. Sheesh. What engine did the M4 Composite Zemsta have? Radial. All the M4 Composite Shermans were built on, had radial engines. All of the composites were built on just box standard M4s. That's why they're called the M4 Composite, not the M4A2 Composite or the M4A3 Composite. So they're all just normal M4s. Yeah, I was kind of asking for that, to be honest. They're all normal M4s. So they all had the radial. Should we try to get A or should we try to capture C? What if we blitzed C with the M22? How do we feel about that? Good day, King Henry. Let's see here. We're hosting a little M3 Lee Q&A session. If anyone was in the stream earlier and I didn't quite get to your question earlier, please feel free to shout it out again. Chat slowed down a little bit, so I think I'll have more time to answer some stuff. Ooh, I see that guy. He's making a beeline for it. If the Germans tried upgrading their panzers, like casting their hulls, would they have extended their life and use in World War II? No, I don't think so. I mean, this is also assuming that Germany magically gains the industrial capacity to mass produce casted hull tanks, which low-key, like, even America didn't really have that. Like, America only had a select few factories that could mass produce a casted hull. I think just because, like, oh, hey, you have casted hull construction, the tanks have a little bit better protection. I think that is, like, by far the least of Germany's problems in World War II. Okay, bro sees me. Oh, I'm gonna die. Never mind. Do you think bro will expect this? Surely he will. But we'll be so fast it won't matter. I missed. Eep. Woo! Oh, I'm feeling... No, we gotta go for the point. We scared him. We scared him, so he's not watching anymore. We're gonna go for the point. We gotta be a team player here. We can't be kill hungry. He's gonna come in behind us, though. He's gonna try to snipe us in the butt. I think Germany's problem in World War II was more so with their tank industry, not so much with their tank designs. Like, we could go on and on about how many faults German tanks potentially had, or did have, but, like, American tanks had plenty of faults. Soviet tanks had plenty of faults, but, like, you know, British tanks had plenty of faults, but, you know, the Allies still won. So I think you can have a tank that is, honestly, like, decently flawed. But, like, you know, if you can make enough of them to support your army, then why not? You know, it's going to work. Did any of the Soviet Lees survive the war? Yeah, I think there's a good couple. I'm pretty sure there's a good couple of them in museums around still to this day. But also, more importantly, the one of the shipments of M3s that was going to the Soviet Union sunk. And there are still to this day a bunch of M3s that are just kind of at the bottom of the ocean in, like, the along that northern shipping route with the Soviets. And over the last couple years, the Russians have gone through and recovered a couple of them. There's also, like, a couple Sherman shipments that sunk too. And you can find plenty of, like, footage and news articles about, like, every now and then they'll go on an expedition and they'll dig up an M3 or an M4 from underwater from the ocean. Now, does that count as a Soviet Lee? I mean, I think it does, because it's a Lee that was being shipped to the Soviets and it was meant for them. But, like, theoretically, it's not like a combat-hardened veteran M3. But, again, I think there's some of those in Russian museums, like, somewhere. I think you could still find M3s. I know I've seen photos of some, but I saw once, somebody specifically sent me one photo, and I posted it on my YouTube community page, of an M3 that was in, like, a Russian museum, but it was, like, all sorts of weird. It was clearly an M3 Grant that had been, like, retroactively, like, configured by the museum to be a Lee, and it had a Grizzly sprocket. It had all the hallmarks, to me, of an Australian service M3, and then I think they just, like, botched on, they, like, reversed it back to just, like, what they thought was a box standard M3 configuration. But yeah, it just looks all weird. It's a weird mashup of features. But that's in a Russian museum somewhere. Do you think an autocannon could go into the 37mm turret of the M3? No, I think that's the reason why they developed the T-36 that we've just now discovered on stream. They tried to put the 40mm Bofors, and they developed a whole new turret for it. I mean, I guess theoretically, if you stuck, like, the Panzer II, because the Panzer II's gun was able to fit in a pretty small turret, so I guess, yeah, theoretically, like a 20mm, like a Panzer II style gun could fit in the 37mm, in the M3's 37 turret. So, I guess, yeah. generically, the answer to your question is yes. Whoa, look at you. You're a big boy, aren't you? You can't move anymore. I feel so bad doing shit like this to these guys. Because I know if I were in his position, I would be so pissed. But, like, what am I going to do? Not do this? Bro got down-tiered and is still going to get his ass beat. Oh, come on. Oh, I didn't hit the... I got to hit the driver's... Yeah, I didn't hit the driver's position. Lol. Oh, they're taking back C, those little bastards. What is the best gun today, excluding ammo? What do you, like firearm? Like small arm? Or like tank gun? I think, in terms of tank gun, I really don't know. Like, I guess the NATO 120, but I'm sure somebody can type up a very long argument as to why the Russian 125 is better. And in terms of, like, small arms, I mean, I hate to say it, but, I mean, the AR-15, the M4. Sorry, guys, my nose is a little stuffy. Germans sure did love the M3, not as a tank, but as a target. Sure was fun to kill that tall bastard. And there were some, again, I saw a surprising amount of, photos of M3s being reused by Germany. But I think that is more so because the Germans were desperate, not really so much that the M3 was like such a good tank that they were like, wow. But the Germans, just as a rule, basically captured and put back into service every tank they ever came across. And I'm sure some they liked more than others. How would one put an autoloader into the M3? I don't know if you could. They put an autoloader into the T20, but they were able to do it because they had enough vertical space for the autoloader to sit down in the turret basket or below the turret basket. If you have the M3 hull gun, I don't think there's enough room beneath that space, to do an autoloader. Fuck, I got his engine, but not his gun. Ah! I missed. I got scared. Oh, his traverse is fast. Faster than I thought it was. I got his loader, but I need to kill his gunner. Oh, come on. Oh, he can't put out the fire, though. Oh, I could have just kept doing circles around him because he can't put out that fire because he's got to trace, or he's got to track me. So fun. And I'm going to be honest, I might have slept through this if you said it, but were M3s used in construction after the war like the M4? Oh, yes, actually. Oh, you know, that's actually a great point, and someone had been asking earlier about, like, the M3's use after World War II. Yes, particularly in Australia and Canada. Yeah, there was a huge market after the war of turning all these old M3s and M4s into, like, tractors and logging equipment and farm vehicles. They put, like, plows on them and cranes and things like that. So, yeah, definitely. What is your favorite shell type? Which do you think is most interesting? Penetration cum blast. That's my favorite shell type, probably. What if they mounted the autoloader sideways? I'm not sure if that would have interfered with the function of it. I don't... Maybe. It might. But still, there's not room. Like, there's not room, though, in the M3. Because that 75mm gun is, like, on the side, like, right up against the wall of the tank. Like, I don't think you could do it. And to the left of the 75 is the turret basket, and to the right is the wall of the tank. So I don't think doing it sideways would I don't think it would work either way. Yeah, there's a video here on YouTube where the Germans compared a captured M3 against a Panther on different terrains and obstacles. Yes, I've seen that video. I do think I cited it in my M3 video. I actually think that video is like, I think that video is obviously propaganda. Like, I wouldn't just take everything it says like 100%, but I do think, like, the Soviets also independently found that the M3 had issues scaling vertical earth obstacles. So it seems like that was a genuine fault of the M3, and it makes sense. Someone left a very good comment. I appreciate them calling me out on this, but they said, hold on a minute. You said that the M3 was well-liked in the Pacific Theater in Burma and stuff because it was very good at climbing steep hills. And you even showed footage of an M3 climbing like a really, really steep slope. So you praise the M3 for its like slope climbing ability, but yet you agree with the German and Soviet conclusion that the M3 like was bad at scaling obstacles. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. A very good call out. I believe there's a difference between just being able to drive up a very steep hill and being able to come in contact with a vertical obstacle and then go up and over it, and like allowing the front of your tank to be able to grab onto like a rock or a ledge or whatever, grab on, and the tank can go up and over, versus just rolling up a steep hill. I think there is a difference. And I mean, yeah, I think honestly, like I would also be inclined to believe that that video of the Germans showing the M3 struggling at scaling vertical Earth obstacles, I would be very inclined to believe that that's propaganda and not true at all. But like genuinely, like the Soviets reported independently that it was something that they also noticed that the M3 was not that good at, or at least was bad at. So I mean that's 2 data points. I mean obviously I think for most people you would want 3 or more data points to support a conclusion, but to me I found that very interesting. I guess I should say that, like, yeah, sure, you can make up your own mind on whether you believe that or not. Personally, I think that is just, like, like that's, for this thing that we all say is, like, total German propaganda, it is at least interesting to notice that the Soviets also came to similar conclusions. I find that interesting, if anything else. If nothing else. I know it's a stupid question, but will you be playing Squad 44 when the Pacific Theater releases? Yes, definitely. Yeah, there definitely is a difference, like climbing stairs versus climbing hills. Yeah, I think so. That was at least my, that's what I sort of thought. That was my thinking. How did the T20 autoloader work? I'm not sure exactly how it worked, but you can look up schematics of it real quick before we play. T20 autoloader. Oh, it's the T22, excuse me. The T22E1. It's actually pretty cool in the sense that, like, here. There it is. On the T22. It is an autoloader. For the 75 M3. So, like, this theoretically, and, like, look at the turret. It kind of looks like the Sherman's turret, doesn't it? So I wonder if this theoretically could have been put into the Sherman, potentially. But yeah, this is like, like 1943 or whatever, 1944, developing autoloaders, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that existed. I'm not exactly, like, if you want to look at this and see how it works, I'm not totally certain. I haven't done the reading on it yet, but it did exist. Hello, Edda. Hello, Edda Henry the Great. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, thank you for being here. We are playing War Thunder and doing just a small little, I say a small, but just doing a Q&A about the M3 Lee, or also to expand the prompt, the M3 video. Like, if you have any specific questions about, like, the video, like making the video or anything like that, those are also on the table. My question still stands. Do you eat cheeseburgers on Fridays? No, not always. Sometimes I do, but not always. Also, am I missing? Sorry, I've got the top chat. I want to make sure it's on live chat, not top chat. I hate how YouTube does that. It automatically filters it to top chat, which is like, I guess, like whatever YouTube deems like the top messages. But yeah, that's like dumb as hell. I don't want that. I wonder if a cannon could have been clip fed. I mean, dude, a freaking. I'm depressed. I'm not going C. I like going A. Okay, fine. I'll go C. For a 75mm gun, clip fed. That's asking for quite a lot, I think. Wonder what other skins did I have for my M3 Grant? I wonder. I haven't even bothered looking. Changes it last second. What the hell? Sorry, cat. I did you dirty. SMH killing this man. Why am I imagining a turretless M3TD with a bigger gun right now? That did exist. Look up the T40 and the M7. Or the T29, I think. Or the T20... Oh god, what was the... Oh goodness, what was the... Hold on, script time. I gotta pull up my script. Whoa. Oh, hi cat. Pull up my script. What was the GMC? The T24. The T24 GMC and the T40 GMC. Check those out. But it really be cool to shoot 2 to 3 shells in a short time, lol. That is true. But like, yeah, like the weight of those clips would be massive. Like absolutely, like unable to be held by a human being. And probably like the time it would take you to load those 3 massive clips versus the time, versus the time it could take you to just, yeah, I handled that really poorly. I handled that situation very badly. I very easily could have won that fight. I'm just stupid. The time it would, like, yes, you can get 3 shots off in very quick succession, but then, the time it would take you to load the next block of 3 would, I think, counteract that. I think it would be like a Lee Enfield, like having a 10-round capacity situation where, like, yes, you get, 3 rounds in quick succession, but if you took a tank that functioned with those, like, 3-round clips compared to just a normal tank with a normal loader that loaded 1 at a time, if you took those 2 tanks and compared them side by side and had them run, like, 100 shots, I think the one that loads 1 round individually would probably be faster, like, over that longer extended period of time. ClibFed 76 is crazy. No, yeah, exactly. Like, that would just be insane. Like, I don't even know if you could pick that up. I generally don't think a human being could do that. But theoretically, if they could, I still think you run into those issues. It wouldn't be as fast, I don't think. What's your favorite trivia about a World War II general? I have no idea. I guess Nuts. Who was the general, like, during Bastogne or during the Battle of the Bulge or something like that? And they went nuts. That's probably my favorite. How would tank design go if there was an interwar trench warfare style world war? We'd probably see a continuation of a lot of what happened in World War I. Like, we would see a return of, like, the land ships. Actually, I don't know. I think the war is more so dependent on the technology than the technology is dependent on the war. Like, I think the reason World War II didn't become another World War I is because we had, Germany had the Panzer III and IV and the Panzer II and all that. And even immediately after World War I, like, those lighter tanks, like the FT-17 is pretty much universally recognized as, like, the best thing since sliced bread. So even immediately after World War I, that's kind of the direction tank design is going. And yeah, you see France developing things like the Char 2C, and like there's like the Mark 8 Internationals, and some of America's first attempts at a medium tank like the T1 are like really, really big, or the 1928s or whatever, or the M1 medium tanks. But I think like if a world war broke out in like 1930, I think you would still see like reasonably fast medium tanks and light tanks, or not fast, but like reasonably mobile medium tanks and light tanks. I think the biggest thing that would change is obviously like a 37mm gun would be considered like god tier still, But I think through war, that stuff would be that development would be accelerated, and we would see like America would figure out how to put like the 75 on a tank faster, and the Soviets would develop something, and I don't think much would change in terms of war. Because I think World War II tanks are still viable in a World War I environment. Ouchies. I think even if the war was like a World War I style like big trench war, I still think tanks like Shermans and Panzer IIIs and T-34s would still be useful. So I think tank design would I don't think tank design would actually have changed all that much. Like, I think we would have seen I think the biggest thing it would have affected is people's ability to develop the things that they end up developing by World War II. So we would see some things that are like less developed than they were in reality when World War II broke out, but I think the concepts would soldier on. Now that's all without cavalry. Although actually, it's not cavalry. That's all without considering doctrinal developments. And actually, yeah, considering where doctrine is at that time, like I don't think the capabilities and features of tanks would change very much, but definitely like yeah, doctrine would be the big thing. Like America still being really obsessed with horse-drawn cavalry and the separation between infantry, tanks, and combat cars and things like that. But yeah, I don't think you would see. I don't know. I don't think it would be that different. I'm in a golden spot, by the way. It seems. Try not to ruin a good thing, but. Oh yeah, dude. The fact that the 75 in the M3 in the American tech tree doesn't have HE is criminal. A what? How did I miss? Come on, dude. What is bro doing? What is bro doing? Ooh. I did reverse at the last second, and I don't know why I did that. That was a genuine mistake on my part. Oh, he's gonna come around the front? Bro is so gullible. No, keep facing that way. Keep facing that way. I've got 2 guns, idiot. Oh my god, dude. Bro actually fell for it live on stream. Oh my god, that is so embarrassing. Bro was like, oh, his turret is turned the other way. Now's my chance. Lamau. Me when, dude. I kind of want to stay there, but like now their entire enemy team knows I'm here. What's that meme? Now all of Wakanda knows you're here, or something like that. Now all of Wakanda knows you're here. Oop, I'm gonna die. Oh! Wait, this is actually. Oh no, I can't turn. Oh no. Oh, this might be the end. This might be the end of poor Edda 320. Unless. Come a little closer, buddy. Yeah, a little bit closer. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, airplane! I'm depressed! Please tell me. Oh, you killed like his gunner or something, please. Do I have enough spare crew members? Oh, I don't. I've got 2 people. Oh, no. Oh, no, not that. F2, F2. Keep, like, select the 37 specifically. Okay, I guess I can't. All right, I'm trying to force my crew to go in the 37, but... Oh, fucking hell. Hold on. No, no, no. I can't. I can't get my crew to go in the 30... Yeah, I couldn't get my crew to go to the 37. Ugh. Yeah, the entire idea that everyone had for World War II was that it was going to be like World War I, but Germany could press the attack against allies due to them having motorized vehicles, tanks, and trucks. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think tank development would have changed like a crazy amount, to be honest. Opinions on Crusader 3? I think it looks badass. I'd like to know more about it, but it is so locked in. I was. And it doesn't read? Sorry, I was too busy gaming. Now all of CAS knows you're here. And to play plane? No, I hate playing planes in this game. It's so frustrating. F in chat, yeah. I've been thinking about making a channel like yours, but for aviation. How did you get started? a microphone, an editing software, and OBS, and an idea. That's pretty much it, I would say. And just like the hardest part about YouTube is starting. Like you're always going to be so worried, like what if the video isn't good, or what if I'm wrong, or what if da da da. Like, dude, go back to my channel and look at the very first video I ever made. It fucking sucks. It's ass. It's a video about whether the tiger is actually all that good or bad. Whoa! I didn't mean to shoot my machine guns there. I meant to break. Oh, good. He can't aim. I don't think. My range estimation is garbage. Come on, little M2. You can do this. Oh, come on. He's turning his gun. He's coming back round. This is so embarrassing. There we go. No, come on. You stole the damn kill, cat. Fuck you. That last shot would have got him for sure, dude. That was on me. I just generally had awful aim on there. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. Just pick, like, just to have fun. Like, just make videos that you want to make. Like, just be like, hey, I want to make a video talking about this plane. And whether you want to, like, I feel like sometimes, too, like, people feel like their videos have to have a specific message or a meaning. Like, I want to make a video that's, like, praising this tank that everyone hates, or this plane that everyone hates, or, like, people say that this was this, but I actually think it was this, and I want to prove it. Like, you have to prove something. Like, you don't necessarily have to do that even. Like, just make a video being like, yeah, dude, like, let's talk about this tank. Like, let's talk about some things that it did. Whoa, I was freaking adjusting my seat. And that, chat, is why you give your tank, like, 80 different machine guns, because even when they take out your turret, there's still at least one machine gun up. Yeah, I don't know. I think just make shit that you like. What's your favorite modern day tank? Probably the Ariete. Italy mains, rise up. It just looks so sexy. Opinion on the M37, Chaffee SPG, looks gay and lame. What's your favorite BR of all you played? America 4.0, easily. Dude, America 4.0 is the most fun BR in all of War Thunder. Italy 3.7 is also very fun. Well, basically 3.7 to like 4.3 is just great, I think, no matter what tier you're at. I think that's the golden zone. And like, oh, you know, surprise, surprise, it's mid-World War II. Oh, look at that. I also just realized the meme is now all of China knows you're here. That was the meme that I was thinking of. Aw, man. Was it that guy? Oh, it was a different guy. Damn, two of them. Anyway, yeah, I think my favorite BR is just anywhere around that, like 3.7, 4.0 sort of time frame. And yeah, that's, sorry, broken record, but like, yeah, that's mid World War II. That's all the World War II medium tanks. That's the Shermans and the T-34-76 and the Panzer IVs. Like, of course, that's my favorite tier because those are all my favorite tanks. Well, for the most part. Oh, that guy's not dead. I thought that was a dead guy. Yeah, I thought that guy blended in with the wreckage for me. I didn't even see him. Could a double 75 holy work? Like, yes. Theoretically, yes. In terms of, like, combat, no. Not at all. It would be it would be a terrible vehicle. But, like, could you theoretically do it? Yeah. All right, that guy just... that guy just walked right into it. Hold on, which one is my AP? I guess this is not much of a difference, but fuck it. That poor little T-26, he just walked into the rainforest, bro, and got drenched. You should play Sprocket more. I'm currently waiting for Sprocket to, like, actually kind of be good again. Like, it's just unfortunate that, like, the game has been reduced to such a shell of its former self for the sake of volumetric that, like, all the features that I really liked about it aren't in the game anymore. But he's going to be adding them back slowly over time. So, like, I'm waiting for them to come back. I'm waiting for more battles to be added. I'm waiting for Sprocket to be back at the point where it was before Geometrics happened, and then for him to actually add, like, genuinely new stuff, rather than just spending all this time bringing the game back to where it already was. Kind of sucks, but, I mean, I get why he's done it, but... honestly, the biggest hindrance to me right now is individual part saving. Like, honestly, that's, like, the one reason I don't play Sprocket, is because individual part saving hasn't come back. The fact that I can't use the little, like, like now, like, you have, like, the little parts that you can just spawn. Like, instead of having to mold stuff out of turrets, now you have like the little cubes that you can just spawn in, and you can mold them into custom parts, or custom, you know, bits. I love that. Like, that is amazing. That's an amazing feature. Unfortunately, you can't save stuff. Like, I would love to be able to mold custom shapes out of those little cubes and then save them and reuse them on other tanks. Like, I want to use them to make jerry cans and like gun traverse mechanisms and like custom cupolas, and like I want to make all these custom shapes with these little cubes, but like I can't reuse them on any of my designs. And that to me was part of the fun of Sprocket, was being able to design all your different stuff and then save them individually and then reuse them on other tanks. Like, that's to me is what made Sprocket feel so much like you were designing, like you were, it made me feel like I was Aberdeen Proving Grounds. That's what I loved about Sprocket, was that playing Sprocket made me feel like I was Aberdeen Proving Grounds or Rock Island Arsenal, whatever, where like I develop a tank, I build my own tank, and then I build a new tank with like a new hull, but then, oh hey, I want this tank that I just built to have the gun of that tank that I built over there. I can save the gun, save the turret, and then put it on my new design, and like I can mix and match stuff. That's what I love about it. So the fact that right now individual parts saving hasn't been re-implemented in the game, like that's literally like 90% of the fun of Sprocket for me is just no longer in the game. So that really sucks. So I'm just waiting for him to add that back. Like, once he adds that back, genuinely, I will be playing the game a lot more often. But yeah, it's to the point, like, I don't even play the game by myself. Like, excluding content, like, I just don't play Sprocket anymore at all. And that's the big feature I'm waiting for. That's the big one. We get a new Sprocket vid in 2026? I mean, with the way things are going, yeah. What's your opinion on the M901? I don't know what that is. And a casually driving around enemy spawn while yapping on Sprocket? Yeah, basically. What's your favorite airship? Probably the, damn dude, 3,000. Dude, almost 4,000 light bulbs? Let's fucking go. My favorite airship is probably the Hindenburg. That thing was fire, dude. Not all squad members are ready. Cringe. Are we getting GTA 6 before the next Sprocket video? Dude, I honestly, yeah, like, I don't mean to do this because, like, Hamish is a great guy, and I genuinely think he's actually really trying to build, like, the best game that he can, and like, I believe in him, but, like, at the same time, yeah, like, the ball's in his court. Like, he's just gotta, it's not even a case of, like, he's gotta finish the game. He has to get the game back to bare minimum. Like, the geometric internals thing just really, I mean, it threw everything off. Like, it's just, it's a bit unfortunate. Okay, go. Why? I am depressed. Why do you want to go to every single point that like, he wants to spawn at the exact opposite spawn that I always pick. I swear to God, you wait for me to pick a spawn, and then you go, no, never mind, go to the next one. Go to a different one. Oh, it's the Wally-looking tank? Oh, I think that thing looks ugly as shit. I'm not a big fan of that thing. Yeah, what do you think about designing tanks in sandbox games which aren't supposed to have them? I think it's unfortunately ugly. I think most of those games don't do it right, and that's what got me so excited about Sprocket. Even games where like you are able to design tanks, games like, I guess From the Depths would count, right? Or what's another game? Like, I'm thinking about the game. It's like not like Tetrarch, but like BattleTech or something like that. There's some games like that. But like they're all like either like futuristic or they're their own little universe or whatever. Like, I want to be able to build my own custom World War II tanks. Yeah, Stormworks. Stormworks is a good one too. But yeah, like I want to be able to build my own World War II era tanks. You know, like that is what I find. That's what I would want to do. That's what I want to find interesting. So yeah, a lot of those sandbox games where people just botch together tanks when you're not really supposed to. Like Minecraft is another one. There's mods out there where you can build tanks in Minecraft, but like, yeah, they look ugly and they look awful, and there's like none of the fun of actual tank development in it. You know, what I loved about Sprocket is I could build tanks that like looked of the era of World War II and even used components from World War II, like mantlets and suspensions, and the prefab stuff in Sprocket is all like, you know, from real World War II tanks. Like, I loved that. So I can build tanks that are World War II era, and also like I'm actually developing the tanks. Like, it makes me feel like there's actual organic tank development happening. Whereas all these other vehicles, all these other games, like you just really have to, like you have to botch it. It just doesn't really work, in my humble opinion. I was about to pull the trigger, dude. All right, that's on me. That's on me taking forever to aim. What do you mean the M113 is sexy? The M113 is sexy, but that stupid Wally turret is horribly ugly. Also, I'm depressed. I like how you dragged me over to A and then proceeded not to cap A. You just drove right past it. So, W teamwork on his part. I saw this one teardown mod that looks nice. Yeah, but again, like that's not like, what are you designing your own tanks, or is it just, hey, look, I made a tank in the workshop that you can download and spawn in, you know, like. It's really an underrated tank in War Thunder? That sucks. That sucks that all the ugliest and stupidest tanks have to be the ones that are actually good. Yeah, I want to point out that the Polish school from the GOP emblem looks so fucking nice. It generally looks like an Armored Division emblem. Yeah, dude. That's why I had it as a poster. Because for people who don't understand the reference, for them, they just think, yeah, it's like an Armored Division or some reference to like a Polish artillery battalion or something. Which, technically, it is, right? But yeah. Oh, you mean the M3? Oh, excuse me. Acid Rain 42. I thought you were talking about the M113 Wally tank. But no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, dude, I've been playing with the M3. I've been playing at this BR like ever since I Am Depressed, my glorious and delicious patron. Thank you very much for your donation to Golden Eagles for me to get the Grant tank in preparation for this stream. I've been playing like 2.7 or whatever, like this BR for a little bit, and I've been having a ton of fun. Like the M3 is actually a really fun and good tank in this game. So I've been having a lot of fun. Like, yeah, you can die to a lot of things, but you can also kill a lot of things. And yeah, having a 75 at this tier is pretty epic. So yeah, I recommend it. If you guys are like watching this gameplay and you're like, Edda, you fucking suck, I could do way better. Yeah, dude, go. Play the M3. Do it. What's your opinion on ATGMs? They are certainly anti-tank guided missiles. I don't know, like, what do you want me to say? It's an interesting thing, like, it's a weird thing. It's really weird being a YouTuber, but it's what, like, I don't understand why people like to ask me questions like that, where it's like, what's your opinion on this thing? It's like, I don't know, like, it's a thing. Like, I don't get it. Like, do you expect me to be like, I think ATGMs are stupid and gay, and I think we should go back to using, like, Panzerfausts? Like, is that what you expected me to say? I don't know. I generally don't really care much for modern stuff, though. I guess I'll use that as a segue to say, yeah, I don't really like modern stuff. I don't really care for modern stuff. I like, my favorite era of the tank is actually the interwar, 1935 to 1941. That's like my wheelhouse. That's my bread and butter. But I also, obviously, like, I love World War II. I think tanks were the most interesting during that sort of 10-year span, I guess. Like 1935 to 1945. That's like that decade. It's like the most interesting decade for tanks, in my humble opinion. I think there was like the coolest stuff going on at that time. I was about to say, I thought I saw a guy behind him. There we go. I thought for a second, this is literally where my brain was going. When I went in my binoculars and I saw that Panzer IV and I saw like something trailing behind him, I was like, wait, did they add the fuel and ammunition trailers for the Panzer IV like what actually existed in real life for Operation Barbarossa? Like, that's actually sick as hell. But then I was like, no, surely they didn't do that. So I just took a pot shot, and then yeah, it turns out there was a little BT-7 behind him. But in case you're wondering, yes, Germany did develop trailers for the Panzer IV for Operation Barbarossa. Pretty cool. What's your opinion on the Industrial Revolution and its consequences? The Industrial Revolution was pretty mid, and its consequences are also pretty mid. How about that? I don't know. That doesn't mean anything. I don't know why I even said that. I thought about making a Ted Kaczynski joke, but then I was like, what even is the joke? Like, I don't get it. So that's the answer. It's mid. You think you and Spookson could ever collab? I hope so. I'd be open to it. I'm just not sure what we would talk about. Like, I feel like sort of his area of interest when it comes to tanks is different than mine. I think he's more of a Cold War guy, I gotta say that like he's made a lot of videos that I really like. Like I think his video on the Abrams was amazing. I really liked his Abrams video. Generally his If Tanks in War Thunder Were Realistic series is a big inspiration for Tank Enthusiast Reacts. Like I like Spookston. He's a good tank tuber. I mean specifically he's a good War Thunder YouTuber. I'd be down to collab with him. I just don't know like. There'd have to be like the stars would have to align. There's like some project that he's working on or that I'm working on that somehow like, oh, like I was just thinking about doing something like that. We should do that. Like, honestly, the big reason why I was able to collaborate with Red Wrench on this M3 video is because like I ran into Red Wrench in the comments section of one of my videos, or one of his videos actually, and him and I just like started nerding out over each other. We were like, oh my god, you like. Big fan. And then he was like, dude, I'm a big fan. And I was like, really? Like, I'm a big fan. He's like, no, I'm a big fan. And then like we met up in Discord and like, dude, like I'm a big fan. And he's like, no, dude, I'm a big fan. And I was like, dude, that's crazy because like I'm a big fan. And we just like went back and forth for about 3 days straight. We just kept sending that back and forth to each other. But no, that's what happened with Red Wrench. Is like a good rapport was established early because we both were just like, hey, like you know who I am and you've seen my stuff. Like cool. And so then. When I was doing this massive project on the M3, I was like, Red Wrench and I had talked before about like we need to collab on something, and I was like, when I have an idea, I'll reach out to you. And then the M3 video came along. I just noticed I wasn't even on the point, so I wasn't even helping them cap there. So I was like, yeah, the M3 video happened. I was making the M3 video, and I reached out to Red, and I was like, I think I finally have our collab. And he was like, dude, like count me in. And I had to give him the script. I had to finish the script and then give him what I thought his part would be, and then we coordinated. But yeah, if Spookston, if Spookston and I can establish some kind of rapport, and then kind of both acknowledge like, hey, like I want to collab with you, and hey, I'd be down to collab with you. If that rapport is established, I would be open to asking him if he wanted to be involved in a video of some other thing. I bet there's some tank that or what? I bet there are some tanks that mix times for y'all. Yeah, I'm sure there's some, like... I'm sure if I finally dip my toes into, like, late war heavy tanks, I'm sure him and I could find something together. And one tank that I really like is because it's unusual is the M2A2 with the 2 machine gun turrets. Yeah, man. The thing was wacky. The, U.S. interwar tank development was all in on the 50. And have you ever played the Turin 3 before? If so, honest opinion, I have not played it, no. Yeah, you both love America, and he's clearly showed interest in the Sherman. Yeah, I think that's the one thing Spooks and I both have going for each other is we're both Ameriboos. And I'm okay admitting that, too. Like, I don't think... for me, it's just because American stuff has been the most easy for me to get my hands on for research. Like, I feel like America, as an American, America is, like, the best normie nation. And I admit it's a normie nation. Like, oh, you're an American and you like American tank history. Like, you know, fucking big whoop. Like, be unique. And, no, like, I agree. The difference is that, or the reason is because, like, American stuff is just so easy to access. And also I have an amazing resource with the Chieftain. But, like, I am interested in other nations. Like, once I'm kind of through my America arc, I want to go through, like, a German arc and then a Soviet arc. Like, I do want to eventually become a much more well-rounded tank enthusiast. But for now, like, my interest is in America because I'm researching America, because I'm so familiar with America. When I find the new small things, they interest me more, if that makes sense. So yeah, like, I'm an Ameriboo. Like, I guess you could say I have that sort of bias. Generally, if I'm going to say I have any bias, my bias is that I want all tanks to be good. So you could say I have an American bias because I do talk quite highly of American tanks, but I also talk highly of Soviet tanks. Like, I actually think Soviet tanks are really underrated. Like, I think the Soviets experimented with a lot of crazy stuff that actually ended up working, and they don't get enough credit for a lot of the stuff they did, even in World War II. Generally, I think, like, 1943 onwards, the T-34 is a great tank. Do I think it's as good as the Sherman? You know, now my smaller biases might come into play, but like I'm willing to give other nations due credit. Like, I definitely don't believe in American exceptionalism. I definitely don't believe like woo, like we made the best stuff always, and like all American stuff was always amazing. Like no, we definitely dropped the ball many times. But yeah, I think just for me at the moment, my focus is America, and Spookston also. Like Spookston is obviously big America guy, so yeah, I think him and I guess we have that going for, he has that. What is that like? I guess I have that going for me, that he's also interested in America. Ricochet, dude? What? I think that's the first time in War Thunder history anybody has ever ricocheted off the Ostwind's turret. That's insane. That was also a really bad shot there. Oh, he's back. He's backed off. Oh, he's coming back. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Ooh. I'm not going to be able to kill this guy because I've got armor piercing, but... Come on, I just need to go a little bit more to the left. There we go. I was about to say, I need to kill that guy in the passenger seat. Did the M3 Lee ever have a 50 cal on the roof? No, but the British did develop a 30 cal anti-aircraft mount for the cupola on the Grant. What do you think is the spookiest tank? I have no idea. Like scary, spooky scary? I don't know if any tanks are like particularly scary. I mean, I guess they're scary in terms of like if you're in war and an enemy tank rolls up, that's scary. In that case, I'd say all tanks are scary. But in terms of like, are there any tanks that are particularly like spooky or creepy? I cannot think of any. Oh damn it! I thought that guy was like preoccupied shooting the other people. Oh well. Now we're really starting to get. We will go to C while they're all busy fighting over B. We'll run to C. See if we can be a little goofy. Counter offer T-44 video? What, like for the me and Spookston collab? Yeah, Anarchy just dropped a video on early Soviet jets, and he said one of the reasons it took him so long is it was hard to find documents and footage of what he was talking about. Well, for me, it's like stuff in English. Like, and I think it's also just the books that I don't own, and I think also, like, I hate to break this to you guys, but, like, I'm kind of a noob when it comes to tank stuff. Like, I very much only know what I've researched so far. Like, I've only been interested in tanks, and especially, like, to the degree that I am right now, since, like, 2021, 2022. So compared to a lot of other people who have, like, lived and breathed tanks since they were, like, a teenager, I'm new to the game. So, yeah, like, I just don't know enough about a lot of tanks. And I'm, like, actively learning. Like, the Edit 320 YouTube channel is a exercise in, like, you guys are learning as I'm learning. So, like, a legit thing, like, why don't I make a lot of videos about German and Soviet tanks is because legit, like, I just don't know a lot. Like you said, like, what do you think about the SU-1, like, the SU-85? It's like, dude, I know nothing about the SU-85. Like, all I know is that it existed. Like, that's it. I don't know anything about its development or why they made it or whatever. And, like, there's a lot of things that a lot of other, especially, like, tank YouTubers, guys who have been in this game longer than me, a lot of them could be like, dude, that's, like, basic stuff. And it's like, for me, like, I just don't know it yet. Like, I'm doing research. I think for me, too, because I narrow in on stuff. So, like, I pick the M3 as my focus, and then I narrow on the M3. And, like, I know the M3 and the M4 really, really well. But yeah, if you ask me of, like, opinion on the Chaffee, it's like, I don't know shit about the Chaffee. Like, I will be honest, I don't know shit about the Chaffee. So I'm still very much, and that's what I'm trying to do on the channel is, like, I'm, like, the channel is supposed to be, like, the catalog of what I'm learning and what I want to present on, and what I know. And then my idea now is, like, I want to become, like, very well-versed and well-rounded in American tanks. And then once I've done that, I'll move to the next one. Because I don't want to keep doing these things where I jump around to all these different tanks, but don't understand the context of how they come about or how they were created. And I don't know the names and places and the factories and the state of the industry at the time. And well, not just how was the tank developed, but also what was the state of tanks in this country before it was developed and, like, what made it, why it was the way it was. You know, I want to learn all that stuff too. So, I feel like for me, when I want to actually be, like, somewhat of a voice of authority on any kind of tank, I have to understand everything. I can't just understand even why it was built, but I also have to understand, yeah, who built it and the circumstances surrounding its creation and then its entire life before and after. before I feel like before I feel confident. Sorry for not remembering the name of the Swedish TV that has it, but why did other nations not use ready racks to quick load tanks in World War II? They did. Pretty much every tank in World War II had some kind of ready rack or ready rack equivalent. Rounds that were stored in a different place to the rest of it so that they could be accessed faster for the loader. Has Edda died from CAS yet? I think I have once or twice. Yeah, what do you think of the King Tiger and its failures? How do you think it impacted the Eastern Front? What do I think of the King Tiger? I think it was a waste of resources. What do I think of its failures? I think they were inevitable. What do I think about its impact on the Eastern Front? I don't think it had an impact on the Eastern Front or anything at all. Like, I think with or without the King Tiger, the war would have played out pretty much one-to-one identically. Except you would have a few less stories of wacky encounters with Tiger 2s, King Tigers. But could the other tank YouTubers identify the exact variant of Sherman as well as the year it was made and what factory it was made, though? I'm sure some of them could, but yeah, I guess not many of them. Not as many as me. Bro got camos this game? Yeah, I do. Let's actually, I wanted to ask this too earlier. What other skins did I download for the, because I know I downloaded a couple for the Grant. What's this one? Oh, nice. I have an M3 skin for the Grant, or I have a Girls in Panzer skin for the Grant. This is the alternate history Girls in Panzer, where they used a Grant instead of a Lee. And in fact, I think this training one, I think this is, yep, it's the pink one, which is hilarious. What's this one? Oh yeah, Melbourne Tank Museum. Let's see this one. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, an Australian. Oh, dude, this is nice. Yeah, sick. An Australian. Oh, we should play around with this for sure, dude. Australian Grant. And then this seems like, yeah, a template I created so that I could fuck with the custom sites. Yeah, so that's just nothing. Yeah, let's play around with Melbourne, dude. Let's do that. That would be sick. With the Aussie Grant. Opinion on me upping your win rate? Thank you. I also thank you for letting me get like 3,000 to 4,000 light bulbs every round. That's awesome. Yeah, edit researching tanks, who, what, when, where, why. Literally, like, I can't just, and that's what happened to the M3 video, and I say it in the video, like, the whole video was supposed to be, like, just a quick, like, hey, the M3 wasn't as bad of a tank as a lot of people give it credit for. Let's talk about that. Insert Good Mythical Morning intro. But then, as I did the research, I was like, I have to, I mean, first of all, it's because the reason why the M3 video became what it was is because this book is just genuinely so fucking amazing. I'm going to take a chance, and honestly, I should have shilled it way more. I should have shilled it way more in the M3 video, but please, if my video on the M3 interested you at all, and you were like, you know, like, the M3 actually is a pretty cool tank, please buy this book. I'm not kidding. Seriously, buy this book. This book is incredible. It is so good. It's everything I mean, take my video, but expand it to even more. This book is incredible. I highly recommend this book by David Doyle. David Doyle also has books on the Sherman, which I will be purchasing very soon, I hope, because wow, I mean, the photos alone, like, the photos are just so incredible. Here's the I mentioned this in the M3 video, but I couldn't find a picture of it that was like publicly available. But I mentioned in the M3 had a lot of fanfare behind it. When the M3 was introduced into the first pilot batches were made and things like that, it was like hailed. People were like, it's America's great medium tank. It's like our next new big medium tank. It's an amazing tank. And it had all these like really over the top ceremonies for like the first M3 tank to roll off the lines. And they even had a champagne christening, dude. They smashed a champagne bottle on the tank to do like, it was like a champagne christening. Like, it's so weird. Like, can you think of any other tanks that were like christened, like champagne christening for the unveiling of a tank? I can't think of any other. And then yeah, all the ceremonies for all of the individual. Some of these photos I was able to find and used in the video, but yeah, all the individual ceremonies for all the individual tanks. But yeah, this book is seriously, it goes into so much detail that I never possibly could, even in my own time. But yeah, dude, this is a great book. Seriously, highly recommend this book. Don't you mean Hillary Doyle? No, David Doyle. I know. I was surprised too, because I was like, David Doyle, is he like Hillary Doyle's son or something like that? I don't even know. I actually generally don't even know. But yeah, no, David Doyle. Not to be confused with Hillary Doyle, who is another like very well, highly regarded tank historian. On radio, so I swap. Oh, sorry. All right, there we go. I was wondering why I was taking so long to queue. Am I late? You're kind of late in the sense that we've been going for 2 hours now, and we can probably only go for another like 20 minutes. But you're not late in the sense that like the stream's not over. We're still going to be playing here. In fact, let's get back into gameplay. Welcome to the M3 Q&A stream. Damn, just noticed we consistent 50 viewers. Yeah, dude, lots of people here. Thank you so much to everyone coming out. Again, I'll say that like if you are interested in streaming, or if you're interested in watching me do other live streams, check out my second channel, Edit320 Live. I think I have it linked in the description of this stream, so check it out because I stream all the time on there. Stream sniper win. Apparently, somebody. I think I'm depressed accused somebody of stream sniping already. Do you think that producing more Panzer IVs rather than Panthers would have helped? No. I mean, okay, would it have helped? Yeah, I guess so, in the sense that like they probably could have. Well, no, actually, because the Panther was easier to produce than the Panzer IV, and the Panther was a better design. So no. I don't think producing the only thing that producing more Panzer IVs would have done is like, yeah, I guess theoretically you would have been able to get a good bit more Panzer IVs onto the field. But I don't think it would have been anywhere near enough to like actually affect the war. Like I don't think it would have helped Germany win the war at all. I don't think the war would have played out any differently. But I guess like theoretically, would it have helped to produce more Panzer IVs instead of Panthers? Yeah, I don't think so. Although, all right, so there's two big questions that I'm asking in my head right now. The Panther was easier to produce than the Panzer IV, and it was a better tank. So, like, objectively, there's no reason not to make the Panther. However, there is, of course, there always is the issue of when you introduce a new tank into production, you will always induce slowdowns and issues in production. And yeah, every factory you have making Panthers is a factory that you don't have making Panzer IVs. So like, if they had switched full-time, or sorry, if they had never switched full-time to the Panther, how many more Panzer IVs could you have gotten? Because Panzer IV production was already not doing great. But they also did end up making 6,000 Panthers. So, also here's the matchup of the century, dude. The matchup everyone's been waiting for. The B1 BIS versus the M3. Where is he? He's like there? Ooh. Oh god, he got my driver. And I'm at an angle where I can't aim the, oh, he's like in there. I can barely see him. Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah. I did not handle that engagement very well at all. What was your favorite part of researching the M3 Lee? Was there anything you discovered that was new to you and interested you in particular? I mean, yeah, like 80% of the video was new to me and like, holy crap, I had no idea. I think definitely the most like exciting, like, wow, like I had no idea, and like new thing that I learned was almost certainly like all the industrial stuff behind it, was the story of the M3 in production and the story of William Knudsen and the establishment of the American tank industry. And it became the thesis of the video. I think the biggest thing that I learned from doing all the research on the M3 that like gave me such a new appreciation for the tank was not that the M3 was a great tank, but the M3 was the tank that we had, and it's the tank that we established like We built the American tank industry to build the M3. America trained all of its forces on the M3. Like, the American army would not know how to use, it would have never known how to use the Sherman if it didn't train on the M3. And like, we never would have had Detroit Tank Arsenal if we didn't tool up to build the M3. Like, the M3 was the catalyst for America becoming the arsenal of democracy, and like our tank forces, like American tanks in American service would have been nothing more than like footnotes if not for the M3 and everything the M3 did. So like, it's just an incredibly important tank in American history. I think that was a huge thing that I learned about the tank that I did not have an appreciation for before. I also realized, yes, I was very dumb and that I just charged blindly into like 2 enemy tanks and died. Again, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't even know this was the main channel I'm out. Yeah, I'm streaming on the main today. That's probably why we have so many viewers. Have we talked about the Jagdpanzer 38? No. I do need to eventually look at the 38T, because the 38T is one of my favorite tanks of all time. Yeah, being a train nerd as well, it was cool to hear locomotive manufacturers like Baldwin and Alco mention when talking about the M3. Yeah, and they were huge. Like, they were a huge like piece of the puzzle. Like, they were really important in the whole story as well. Which is really cool. And the story of like the M4 Sherman and stuff too. Oh, come on. Oh, damn it. 37, it's too good. Too much pen. Not enough post pen. APHE. No APHE, have an ass. Do you think the usage of the Panzerblitz 3 rocket by the Germans as soon as the Ram was ready for usage impact on the war by means? I don't know what those are. I have no idea what the Panzerblitz 3 rocket is. I don't. Is that some plane shit, or is that like a Calliope type thing, like a artillery? Thank you for the shout out, or thank you for the call out, Comrade Clumsy. But I was killing him either way. Yeah, cool. Honestly, I never looked at the M3, so the video definitely showed me a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, and that's, again, like I said at the end of the video, at the end of part 2, but like, what I really wanted that video series to do was, at the very least, make you think about the M3 more than you ever have before. Like, make you realize, like, oh, hey, like, the M3 is actually more than just a footnote in American tank history. Like, it actually, even if you don't agree that it was, like, one of the most important American tanks, damn it. Why didn't I stop? I should have stopped and reversed and then tried to turn, but damn it, I knew he was in there too. I just didn't know where he was in there. Anyways, hopefully at the very least it made you at least realize, like, hey, the M3, yeah, like the M3 actually is an important tank, rather than just being like meh. Stopgap. Ever consider collabs with non-YouTubers, like authors like Doyle, or websites like Sherman Minutia or AFDB? I don't even, are those things that happen? Like, can people actually do that? I've never even thought about that. What would that even entail? I guess I could do a collab in the sense of like, me and this person both did this research together, and here are our findings. I guess, yeah, I had never even considered that as an option, but I suppose theoretically, sure. Oh, actually, yeah, that's a cool thing. The Armored Vehicle Database, the Armored Fighting Vehicles Database, I guess the guy who runs it, dude, sent me an email being like, dude, congrats on the M3 video, like, it was amazing, like, loved it. And I was like, holy shit. Oh, he's not here anymore. So that's also a huge shout-outs to the Armored Fighting Vehicles Database. Well, I need to reply. I think he sent me another email I need to reply to. But, yeah, it was super cool. I think he did mention something about, like, yeah, like, if you ever need photos or anything, or you ever use anything specifically from my website, like, if you wouldn't mind giving credits. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, like, of course. Like, if there's ever any photos that or if there are any photos on that database that I use in a video or something, like, to give him credit. And yeah, for sure. I'm trying to be better about, yeah, like, giving credits, like image credits or things like that, in my videos. Rather than just, yeah, using stuff and saying stuff and not citing my source or citing, yeah, like, where I got the image from or where I got the quote from or something like that. Like, it's one thing of, like, just my natural tendency to like want to make higher and higher quality content. Part of that is like being more official and being more professional, but then also genuinely, like, I experience such a mystical journey when I research tanks, and I discover so many amazing and fun things, and I have so many eureka moments when I read something and like, oh wow, and I make connections in my brain and stuff. I want people in the audience, like, I want you guys to have those eureka moments as well. So I don't just want my videos to just be me spouting everything that I read back at you, but I also, like, yeah, I do want to cite my sources, and I want to tell you where I read things and where I got this info from, so that you can go off and be like, and look at it yourself and have like a lot of those same eureka moments. So it's also come from just a genuine desire of like, I actually genuinely want to cite my sources. I genuinely want people to know where this photo came from, so people can go and find it themselves, or so people can go, this quote, like, people can go check that out. Or, you know, again, the books that I used to research, like, this book was so amazing that, like, yeah, I want people to know the book that I used to research it, because I want you guys to read this book and have the same amount of like epiphanies that I did while reading it. I want you guys to have that experience. So I'm trying more and more to do like, yeah, like when I say something, I try to leave a quote, or yeah, like I image credits or video credits or things like that. And it's also just like, it's the proper thing to do. Ed, I'm starting to learn electric guitar. Any suggestions for my first song to learn? Ready Made by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Looks like a rocket launcher attached to an FW-109. Carried a 10 millimeter shaped charge. That sounds wacky as hell. One prototype built was a Panzer IV chassis with a small MG turret 360 degrees and a massive rocket launcher on the back. Yeah, it sounds crazy. I don't know if it affected the war at all, or if it would have affected the war. M3 Levy succeeded on that part. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. Again, I just hope it got people interested. I hope people were just like, wow, you know, I never thought about the M3. And now I did, and now I have. And it's actually pretty epic. It's actually kind of a cool tank. If the Halo Scorpion tank was ever added to War Thunder, what problems do you think it could encounter? And what gameplay balancing would you give it? Probably the fact that like none of its technology actually exists, and we don't actually know how the hell it works. Like, if you added the Scorpion to War Thunder, like, would you give it composite armor? If so, how much? And like, I think there are just so many unknowns that it would be very difficult adapting it into War Thunder. Then theoretically, if you did, I mean, I don't see any reason. If you were able to adapt the Scorpion into War Thunder, I don't know. I don't see any reasons why it would be like super overpowered or not properly balanced or anything like that. So I heard that, bro. I heard that frickin' goober on the other side of the trains, and I just couldn't get a beat on him. So modern tanks, yeah. I mean, it would be a modern tank, I guess. I don't see any reason why it would be particularly difficult to balance. I mean, it's a weird and wacky design, but like, it's got a 90 millimeter cannon, and yeah, I don't know, because like, that's the thing, like, if you were going to use like the Halo wiki, it's like the Scorpion tank uses a 90 millimeter cannon, but it's got super crazy duper futuristic high velocity ammo and has like 800 millimeters of penetration, and it's like, oh, okay. So then like you add that to War Thunder, and it's like, what the fuck, this tank is overpowered because it's a fucking tank from the future, and it has like infinite torque and infinite armor and like infinite, I mean, not infinite, but you know, like really high, like it's insanely maneuverable, it has really good armor, and it has like an amazing gun with super high penetration. And then you just chalk it all to, well, it's the future, it's got all this weird future tech that we don't understand. It's like, okay, well then why would you add that to War Thunder? That's so fucked up. It would stomp everything. Maybe is that the answer you're looking for? Is that it would be super overpowered? Because I think that's probably what it would be. If you tried to implement the Scorpion as close to the way it is in Halo into War Thunder by just reading the Halo wiki and taking everything the Halo wiki says and then implementing it into War Thunder, then yeah, I think you would have a lot of problems balancing it, because I think it would be insanely overpowered. Oh, you can't even, oh, I see. I can't even get in here. Bro really locked himself in tight. What do we think he is? He sounds like he's a Stewart. Or a, what is he? Is he a 105? He is a 105. he see me? Yeah, he definitely sees me. If I can bait him out of his hidey hole, that would be great, because then my teammate can kill him. Oh, dude, his gun's not on me. Oh, what a fucking shot. I stopped him in his tracks at the perfect moment. Oh my god, that's crazy. That guy's got to be so pissed. Oh, and right when the M3 got here, too. Oh, man. There's no one back there. Whew! Damn, that was lucky. My god. Do you think it was a good idea to stray away from heavies during World War II? No, unfortunately, because, like, you gotta have tanks that can, like, you always want to have better armor that can withstand, like, the enemy's hits and stuff. And heavy tanks have specific doctrinal uses, you know, like, you know, like heavy breakthrough and things like that. Like, heavy tanks have their place, as much as I don't like them. I finally managed to get on Ed's stream. Finally, love you, especially your charisma and knowledge. Thanks, 357 reasons. Appreciate you making it to stream. Yeah, I'm probably gonna stream for like another 20 minutes or so, because yeah, like I said, at 2:30, I have to go attend my sister's graduation. So, and my mom was very, very particular about, like, you cannot be late to this, because I mean, yeah, it's an important event. Let me make sure it's 2:30 and not 2 o'clock, because if it was 2 o'clock, then I gotta go right now. But 2:30, all right. So we gotta be by 2:30. So I need to give myself time to go. But what's your favorite TD? Hellcat. I love the Hellcat. I love glass cannons. I love tanks that have like very shit armor, but really powerful guns and are super fast. I love those kinds of tanks. So like the Hellcat is like I love the philosophy of the Hellcat. It's not the best tank destroyer that's ever existed, but I like it a lot. And how would you add a rat to War Thunder at the historical BR? Yeah, I mean, I put it at like 12. I put it at the highest BR possible, because even if that thing doesn't have like the craziest best armor or the craziest best guns, it is so utterly massive and would take so long to kill that like Abrams and shit would still have trouble with that, I would imagine. Would it have been more useful to use the resources used on Panther instead for the Jagdpanzer? No, I don't think so. Well, yeah, because Jagdpanzer is, I guess theoretically would be easier to make than Panzer IV. No, I don't think so. All right, honestly, I think, here's what I think. And I need to do more research on like German paper tanks of like 1941, 1942. Like, I think once Germany builds the Panther, like, they should have gone all in. Like, the fact that they were juggling producing the Panther and Panzer IV at all, like, they needed to do like the American mindset of like once we start up production of the Panther, stop building Panzer IVs, stop building Jagdpanzer IVs, stop building like everything that's built on a Panzer IV, like stop building all of that, like switch over, like use the Panther. And then if it's like, well, the Panther, like all the different variants of the Panther that exist, all the different variants of all the different variants of Panzer IV, like the Stug 4 and the Jagdpanzer 4 and all that, we can't effectively reproduce those variants on the Panther. Okay, well then, I guess have like one factory building all the little Panzer IV variants. But like, I think that was the big failing of Germany at the time. Like, I mean, 1943, Germany's going to lose the war no matter what they do. But like, I really do think if Germany really had this new medium tank that was so much better than the Panzer IV and easier and cheaper, not cheaper, I think it was more expensive to build, but it was easier to build and had less technical debt and a better future. Like, I just don't get why. And again, I'd love to do the research to find out why. Like, there must be a reason, but I'd love to know why, and I think they should have. Or I'd love to know why they didn't just go all in on the Panther, and I think they should have. I think that's what, like, I think that would have been the right thing to do. Because then also, if you spend all this time and money and all these resources, wasting all this time developing Panther, and then just stick with Panzer IV, I mean, I guess America did it many times, right? With the M7, for example, and the whole T-20 series was all just developing all these different tanks, some of which actually worked and were actually good. Like T-23 was like genuinely better than the Sherman in many ways, but like the M4 just had the production momentum. You had to keep it, but that's good. That's good because the M4 was a great tank and could afford that, could stay in production for that long. But yeah, Panzer IV, like I think if you're gonna make the commitment of this is our new tank and we're gonna hit the switch, we're gonna build it, then do it, then hit the switch, like go all in. And they didn't. And Germany did that so many times. They would build all these new tanks, but then keep building the old tanks. And it's like, why? Like your industry is already not amazing, and you're stressing it even more by doing that. Like it's just it's very backwards. Just very, very backwards. German production. German tank industry in World War II. It was very backwards. Didn't make any sense. Yeah, do you think Germany should have abandoned the Tigers and developed the Panther further? Yes. I think Tiger 1 was fine, but yeah, like, well, I don't know, because again, like, heavy tanks have their niche, and the Tiger 2 could do things that the Panther couldn't. So, yes and no. Hold on, I gotta switch to... I missed my shot. Oh, no, I didn't. Dude, I've got 2 guns, bro. That's the second guy. That's the second guy who, like, oh, his 37 is aiming over here. Like, surely he can't. Like, dude, I've got 2 guns. I've got 2 cannons. What the hell? How did bro forget? What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I think Tiger 2 was honestly still worth pursuing. Because Tiger 2 was basically just building a Tiger with all the lessons they learned from building Panther. And I'm all for that. Like, hey, this old tank that we have, like building like a Gen 2 version with all the things that we've learned from developing whatever other new tank, like yeah, go for it. Like I think Tiger 2 was fundamentally a good idea, but it was just way too late in the war to have any real effect. And just all the other shit that Germany was building so many other tanks. It's like you just gotta focus, man. Oh, come on. Alright, there you go. Thank you for stealing my kill yet again, cat. Whoa, 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 whoa. Code red. Ooh! Ooh, I panicked there. I saw that guy and I was like, no way, I'm surviving this. Ooh. Rip. That guy got freaking like triple teamed. Tell Sister 32052 strangers are happy she's graduating. I will tell her. Jagdpanzer would have been cheaper for all of about 10 seconds until German factories made some stupid small change to require different parts. Yeah, true. From what I know so far, the reason why Germany didn't switch to the Panther all the way is mainly due to Guderian shenanigans with the Panzer IV, along with fears over production numbers being lost. And I mean, that's the reason why America didn't go all in on T-23, because they were worried about putting a dent in mass production. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like at some point you gotta commit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Does he see? Does he know, chat? Does he know? He doesn't know. Okay, he still doesn't. They still don't know. Chat, I swear, like 80% of like not dying in War Thunder is just honestly holding still. Like, you'd be surprised how many people just don't see you if you just don't move. Humans are, our vision is very much based on movement. I also very much, I fumbled that. I could have theoretically made it out of that situation, I think, but I did not make the most of it. I should have switched my sights on the 75 so I could aim better, because you saw I shot my 75, but I hit that post. I should have switched my sights so I was aiming better with the 75. Why would you expect a German main to know anything about the least functions in game? True, true. Well, also, we're at a low BR, so there's a chance that we're encountering a lot of, like, newish players, you know? Like, yeah, what if, like, the German tech tree is the only tree that this guy's ever played, and he's just trying to level up his Panzer III, or, you know, get to the next Panzer III. And yeah, bro has never played America before and has no idea. But also, like, isn't this obvious? Like, can't you see? I've got 2 guns. Like, isn't that... Like, that's kind of the whole point. It's kind of the whole thing of the game. That's kind of the whole thing of the tank. Yeah, excuse me, I saw your question. I don't know if I got to read it all the way or answer it, but did any autoloaders ever see combat in very late World War II? Because I know the first one was designed in 1945. I don't know about... I think there was... I mean, I just showed earlier on stream today... The United States developed an autoloader for the Sherman, or at least for the T-22, excuse me, for the 75 millimeter in the T-22, which is the same gun that would end up in Sherman. The United States developed an autoloader in like 1943 or whatever it was, I think. Whenever T-22E1 was. Maybe that was 1945 for all I know. I have no idea. But yeah, the Americans did an autoloader, but it never saw combat. So I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think any autoloaders ever saw combat in World War II. I would be willing to say I don't think. What the fuck? What is Guy? Oh, is Guy more to the left than I'm assuming? No, yeah, he's over there. My freaking MGs can't pen his gun shield. I keep hitting the same spot. I'm not changing anything. All right, kill the guys in the car. There you go. Kill the driver and the co-driver. That took way too long. Especially with the 75. Again, if this had... Oh, wait, we do have HE. Oh, yeah, we have HE with the 75 in the Grant, but not in the Lee, which makes 0 sense. Especially, actually, that makes even less sense because the British notoriously were allergic to using HE in their tanks. So if you're going to choose either the Grant... If you have to pick one, either the Grant or the Lee, to give HE to, and you're not going to give HE to the other one, then give it to the Lee, like the American version, because... Yeah, the British were notoriously, like, didn't know that HE was a thing. I mean, they did know that HE was a thing, but they didn't think it was good for their tanks. Although, to be fair, I mean, the British did use HE in, like, the Grants and the Lees. Like, they famously... I mean, the American 75... The British experience with the 75 in the Grants and the Lee is, like, what opened their eyes to, like, holy shit, you can have a multi-purpose... well-rounded tank gun that shoots HE and AP and is like good in both roles, and like, oh wait. So the M3 was a huge wake-up call to the British as well. Where's that little... I saw... You guys see the little tank destroyer, the little ZIS that was over there? Also, really cool feature, if you guys didn't notice, if I go credit card level 1, we are stabilized with the 37 and 75 millimeter guns. So that's a nice little detail, Gaijin. I was actually... when I went into recording for the Tank Enthusiast Reacts to War Thunder, which I'm working on right now, when I went into that recording, I expected one of my gripes to be that they didn't have the stabilizer for the M3, but they do. They have the stabilizer for the M3, which is pretty cool. Although, technically, this model of the Grant that they have in this game does not have the counterbalance for the 37, so the 37 shouldn't be stabilized, but the 75 should, because the 75 clearly has the little counterbalance there. But anyway, yeah, cool detail. Oop, can we... Oop, no, I meant to press... Oh, I almost hit him, though. That guy. That was just a fumble of buttons. I had no idea what I was doing there. Could have got that Panzer IV, but I was dumb. I was dumb and lame. Oh well. Sorry guys, let me keep going. So Ed is saying German tank production was having ADHD? Yes, very much. Ed, if you were held at gunpoint to upgrade the T-35 to 1945, how would you do it? More armor. I would get rid of all the little sponson guns, and I would reshape the hull to be larger, and give it. Or actually, no, I would reshape the hull to be more like sleek and angled, and have again better armor. And I would put the 85 in it if possible, or at the very least the 76. I'm way too high there. That was bad on my part. Cut down that stupid little bush. Dude, range estimation error. Chieftain says that was the biggest cause of missing in World War II, and it is in War Thunder as well. War Thunder is just like real life confirmed. Yeah, Germany also did plan to completely stop Panzer IV production for Panthers in mid-1945, but obviously that didn't happen. Yes, that you are correct. I think that was in 1943, actually. I mentioned it in my Panzer IV video. Yeah, they go to Krupp and they say, stop building Panzer IVs. We're gonna switch entirely to Panther 1 and 2. And then like half a year later, or no, like 3 years later, they say, never mind, Panther 2 is not happening. And then like another like half a year goes by, and then they say, never mind, stop building Panthers and produce Panzer IVs. Or no, build Sturmgeschütz 4s. And then they say, never mind, stop building Panzer IVs and stick with Sturmgeschütz 4s entirely. And then they say, okay, never mind, stop building everything and just go back to Panzer IVs. Like they do in the year of 1943, Krupp has like a shit ton of flip-flopping that is done. Dude, you gotta be fucking kidding me, really? Dude, I almost got 200,000 lions, dude. This is so fucked up. So yes, there was that flip-flopping. There was ADHD in German production. You gotta go now? Yeah, I do. It's 1:48. It's almost 2 o'clock. I was just gonna check a couple last questions. Edda, what would you change about the M3 Lee in any way? I would make it a Sherman. Like that's kind of the hard thing about this is I don't like how it's nighttime. Oh, I can't. Hey, I'm leaving the squad. I'm gonna go into a test drive because I want to have daytime shining on the tank. I don't like that's nighttime. But yes, this is about the end of stream. Yeah, what would I change about the M3? I'd make it an M4. I would make it a Sherman. All my changes, everything that you could do to make the M3 better would just be making it a Sherman. So, yeah, I mean, that's as the end off, the capping question of this entire stream is just make the Sherman. So yeah, I hope that was enjoyable for everybody. I hope you guys got to have some good fun. And I will say, if you managed to make it to the end, I'm down to continue answering questions in the comments of the stream, or if you want, you can ping me on Discord and ask me questions on Discord, and I will be responsive to you and try to answer questions again about the M3 or about the video or just I don't know, anything. I think I'll probably try to do some bigger Q&A for like. We'll definitely do a Q&A for the 2024 year in review live stream, and then I'll probably do a Q&A for like some big like subscriber milestone pretty soon, like 50K subs or something. There'll be plenty of time, but yeah, if you want to, you can ask me there. One last question, Edda. American GMC vid? Yes, that will happen, but it might be a while. I want to start going backwards and continue through the interwar. My next videos, I want to be on like the American light tanks of the interwar and what led us to develop the Stuart. And then I want to do a video dedicated to like American medium tank development of the interwar. And then possibly a video dedicated to like how America got its hands on its first tanks and like America like starting tanks and like end of World War I. And then I want to jump into World War II and we'll cover, yeah, like the GMCs, and we'll cover like, we'll recover the Sherman, and we'll cover a lot of stuff. But for now, I want to go backwards into the interwar in America, and then I'll jump back into World War II and we'll play around there again. In terms of tank documentaries, of course, there's always room for me to talk about anything for like a Tank Enthusiast Reacts or something. But anyways, yeah, keep your eyes out for content. I will keep announcements on the Discord rolling when I have new things to share on like when new videos are coming out and all that stuff. I'll keep you guys updated, but yeah, thank you guys so much for coming out to the official Q&A for the M3 video. Yeah, again, if you have other questions that I didn't get to answer in the stream or anything like that, just leave them as a comment or ping me on Discord, and I will try to get to them. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'm going to go because, yeah, I got to be at my sister's graduation within 40 minutes. I got to change into something a bit fancy, and I got to make it. But yeah, thanks, guys, so much for coming out, and I will see you all in the next stream. Oh yeah, and again, if you enjoyed this live stream, then yeah, I stream on my secondary channel, Edda320 Live. So check out Edda320 Live, and if you thought this was cool, we do it all the time on the other channel. So thanks, guys, so much, and have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Ready? Are you guys ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, get ready.